Yo, 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 yo. Big up, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Talk Back Tuesdays. I'm your boy, Tarek, the host of this show, but it's really about you. It's not about me. It's about you. And this is the show where you get to come on screen, come on camera, get on the mic, and have your say. Season has come to an end. You've had a whole season of people like me talking to you, talking at you, telling you what you should think, what you should believe. But you get a chance to talk back. So you get to come on here and tell me why I'm wrong, tell me where you're right, tell me what you believe, all of those things. So if you are here, if you're watching and you would like to come on and have a conversation with your boy, all you have to do is click the pinned message. It should be pinned at the bottom of the screen, I believe. But there's a pinned message, and all it has in it is a link. And if you click that link, it will bring you on stage, and you'll be able to come on and chat with me. You can do like Alan has just done and come on and chop it up with your boy. Big up, Alan. How you doing, man?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Yeah.
So we got a lot to get to today. We're just getting started. I know you're usually short on time, so I'll hit some topics, but if you got something specific that you want to talk about, we'll get to those as well.
Well, all I'll say to everybody is the season's just finished. The World Cup's about to start, and a lot of fans are getting frustrated at the lack of possible signings we're going to make. We have to get rid of
Still
people.
early.
Yeah, it's still very early, and we have to get rid of people before we can buy. That's a fact, right? So people just need to be patient. Regarding Elliot Anderson, he's vastly overpriced. 120 million is ridiculous.
So let's jump to it because that was, of course, that's on my list, right? All the transfer stuff is on my list, but supposedly Nottingham Forest want 120 million pound for Elliot Anderson.
Not worth it.
I don't believe that City is going to go anywhere near that number. I don't even know if that number is real, right? I have no way to know. I believe that their owner, the Marinakis, I believe he's going to play hardball. I think that's what we've seen from him throughout the year. So it doesn't surprise me that they've thrown out a number that high, even if they're willing to go for less. I think they're trying to ensure they get a solid 100 million pounds. If they get their 100, they'll probably be happy. I know the club last I read was trying to stay in that 90 to 95 range. So it's a little bit of a game of chicken right now, if that even translates for the English. But yeah, they're trying to. It's just a game of chicken to see who's going to blink first. So yeah, I'm not of the opinion that 120 is that's a lot of money, man, for real.
I don't think he's worth it.
It's hard for anybody to be worth 120 million, to be honest with you. Unless you're like one of those stars.
Yeah, I just don't think City will pay that. No way.
Let me shout out these folks that have been here. Big up to Ash, always here. Big up Snoopy, had to dip out. He's got a work party, but always comes on, leaves his messages, always lets me know that he's supporting. I really appreciate it. So he's encouraging everybody, please like, hype, and subscribe. I don't even know how that hype thing works, but do it anyway. It can't hurt, right? So hit the button. Yeah. Big up to Adam Quinn. Adam shouts out PSG, which we're going to get to, but thank you, PSG. You guys say football, can't thank you enough. And then he gets into some of the.
I must admit, I did laugh when they won the penalty shootout.
Yeah,
I did laugh. I think the whole of the UK, apart from Arsenal, laughed their heads off and cheered.
So. Big up Steve Blackie. Good day, mate. Riz, how are you? Strasburg Steve, big up, sir. Danny, sup. Julio Castaneda, big up, brother. And Curtis, big up to you. Appreciate you. Appreciate everybody being here. All right. Abs. Yes, sir. How you doing, man? Appreciate everybody. Appreciate you being here. All right, let's get back into it. So we kind of hit on the Elliot Anderson. We just hit the obviously Champions League final. That was on Saturday. Obviously, Arsenal versus PSG. Some controversy. I won't say a lot. Some controversy in the match. Arsenal get the early goal on I think it's a fluke mistake. Marquinhos goes to clear the ball. It hits off of whichever attacker it was from Arsenal and just kind of bounces back into the path. And so Kai Havertz ends up with the one-on-one. To his credit, it's a well-taken goal, but it was not something that they created. Let's not pretend like they created something. It was a fluke.
They had one shot on goal.
Yeah.
And scored.
And it came from more of a fluke than anything. It wasn't, again, if they had passed through and played through them, then give them credit. But at the end of the day, they got their goal. They took the lead, and
they tried to hang on.
And that was the thing. They got I forget, it was like 6th or 7th minute in the match when they got that goal. And then the mentality was, and I think going into the match, the whole mentality the entire way was keep it tight, don't give up a goal, and then try to nick one and win it that way. So once they actually had the lead, then it was just hold on and not give up a goal. And I think they tried to do that for 83, basically 90 minutes if you include stoppage time. So they were going to try to play for 90 minutes without really any desire to attack, just simply a offense versus defense, attack versus defense training day, basically. And that's just impossible. I just felt like it was never going to be successful. It was too long to hold on. To their credit, they held on for a while, but what do you think about all the controversy that surrounded? Let's start with the Mascara penalty, because he fouls. I forget who it was.
I don't think it was a penalty. First of all, it started outside the box, which it did, right? And then it got dragged into the box. I didn't think it was a penalty. I think it was because Mascara was pulling at the other guy, and the other guy was sort of pushing the other bloke. I thought the Mascara
one is where he came through his back, right?
Hang on.
I want to make sure we're talking about the same play.
Yeah. What was a penalty was the second one where both hands touched the ball.
So you're talking about you went the two hands on the ball. That's the Saka play that doesn't get a penalty. That does not get a penalty.
That was ridiculous.
Yes.
So Arsenal fans are going on. There's no point in talking about it because the game's over. They lost on penalties, which is never nice, but it couldn't have happened to a better player for missing the penalty, because he's an absolute tosser.
So yes, I was absolutely. So I don't think so. Go back. I think the Saka should have been a penalty. I think Mascara was a penalty. It was called. I think it was a penalty. I think that Madueke, I think that one was close. I think if I'm a Arsenal fan, of course I want it as an Arsenal fan, but I've seen that not given plenty. So I don't think
that's right.
Then when you see the replay and he's kind of got his arm hooked, you're initiating this contact and you're the one that's driving the foul. So I think all in all that it was pretty good. I appreciated the ref when halftime is basically right before halftime. Saka's got a corner kick, and he's taking his sweet little time getting over there. And now, granted, it's the last kick of the half. It is what it is. But I'm glad that the ref was like, "Look, dude, I'm done. We're going. If you're going to take that much time, you obviously don't want to take it. Let's go." I wish that, and I hope that we see more of that next season. I know in the World Cup there's a new rule that's coming into play where you have, I think it's 5 or 8 seconds or whatever it is, some number of seconds, some amount of time that you're given to take those corners, throw ins, whatever. And if you don't, it'll be given to the other team. So I'm hoping that it picks up the pace of the match. And if it goes well, that they take that and they put it in every league after this World Cup, because there's too much time that the ball is out of play. Get the ball, put it back in play. Let's go. We don't got all day.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, they'll always try and waste a bit of time. It's the way football is. It's not, AFL goes through that same scenario, but they add time on for that. So
yeah,
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. So like in American sports, we stop the clock. So, if the ball's out of bounds, the clock stops. And then once the ball comes back in, it starts back up again. So you're going to play the full 48 minutes or 40 minutes or whatever amount of time the game is advertised to be.
That will never change towards it. The Americans have been trying to change,
and I don't think you should. And so let me preface my statements by saying I like the game exactly the way it is. I don't want it to be changed. I don't want it to be quote unquote Americanized. I don't. So I don't want them to change it. I just want them to make sure that they are, I don't want to say policing, but making sure that people are doing the right things. And again, there's some amount of dark arts. I get it, but when all you do is just try to keep the ball to play, that's no one wants to watch that. No one wants to be a part of that. Again, exactly. if you're an Arsenal fan, you don't care. You don't care what I think. You don't care what anybody. You shouldn't care what I think. You shouldn't care what anybody thinks. You should just be happy that you won the league and move on. But unless you're an Arsenal fan, if you're a neutral or whatever, then you're like, wait a minute, this is crap. But to your point, we get to the penalty shootout. Eze misses his. He tries a stutter step. He tries to get the keeper to move. The keeper doesn't move. He stays basically planted on his line, and then he has to try to put it one side or the other. He puts it to his left, keeper's right, and it's wide. So misses the penalty, and then like the very next kick or very next penalty taker for PSG, I forget who that was, but he misses his. It actually gets it saved because he didn't put it. It was too close to Raya. It wasn't far enough in the corner. Raya saves it. It didn't look like there was any chance of it going in. It was always going to be saved. He didn't look like he was really ready for it. But then to your point, and this is where we want to get to, because I agree with you, Gabriel steps up. He's the fifth penalty taker. Now, let me say this. I'm not necessarily a fan of Gabriel. I don't think I'm a fan. But it's just on the pitch stuff. I don't have no issues with him. It's just on the pitch. He got to give the guy credit because he steps up to take the fifth penalty, which is, it's the do or die. After that, we go into sudden death. So he steps up willing to take that. Now, there's some other attackers on their team that didn't take penalties, and maybe they should have taken penalties. What is your thought on defenders or just non-attackers taking those clutch penalties like that?
Well, yeah, it's a difficult one because some are quite good and some, Gabriel seemed to change his mind away. That's the worst thing you could do in a penalty, is change your mind halfway through. But it couldn't have happened to a nicer person. It really couldn't. The guy should keep his mouth shut in the future and stop acting like an idiot on the pitch. Again. Listen, in penalties, and England fall foul to this regularly. It's about keeping you cool, keeping calm, and it's a very difficult thing because it is a lottery. No
so William, hang on with me because I want to know what you found that is. So I get that you're kind of, maybe you've already gone. I don't know. So I get that you are probably still a little hurt from Yeah. Here we go. Thank you. I'm glad you're still here. Why I get it, Man City stream, but why the personal attacks on players who do not even know? So yeah, that's why I said I don't want it to be a personal attack because I don't know Gabriel. Like I said, I'm not a fan, but why would I be? Because I'm not an Arsenal fan. So why would I be a fan of him? But like I was getting ready to say, and that's why I kind of turned to Alan. I give him all the credit for stepping up and taking what is a clutch penalty. He had the willingness. He was willing to take it. I don't know if that was a plan by Arteta. I don't know if that was just him. I don't know who decided that he was going to take that fifth kick. I think it was probably in hindsight, at least hindsight being 2020, is the wrong decision. But
Yeah.
somebody had to take it, and he had the cojones to step up and take it. So credit to him, right? Credit to him. Yeah.
Well, at
So,
the end of the day,
honestly, not hurt. We have a fantastic season, which you did, and you won the league. So kudos to you guys. Surprised at the reaction from some fan bases, probably me being naive. I think there is a certain amount of naivety there, right? Because football is absolutely very much tribal. And so to expect other teams and other fans of other teams to kind of be like, oh, we're going to give you big up maybe once or twice, and that's going to be it, right? It's going to get back to being tribal and being,
But football,
banter.
especially in England, is very, very tribal.
Yeah, and I think it's that way a lot of places.
And AFTV haven't helped Arsenal's causes.
Well, see, I don't think that. So personally, and I understand you got your opinion. I don't think the AFTV. I mean, again, you could say that, but I haven't watched the comments from Simon Jordan and all that. I just think that's at the end of the day. If you ask me, why would I not want Arsenal to win? I don't want Arsenal to win for two reasons. One, I am a City fan. Why would I? Secondly, I have I think there is a a certain portion of the Arsenal fan base, particularly those that are online in social media, maybe even YouTube, that they just drive me batty. Yeah, well, you say toxic. Maybe toxic is a little strong, but they just drive me batty. I'm just not a fan. So I'm always going to root for them to not be happy. But it's nothing personal against you, nothing personal against the club per se. I don't have any issue with Arsenal per se. Just not want them to win. But again, we're gonna keep moving. Hopefully you hang around, but if you don't, I get it. It's all good. Hope you'll come back next week. All right. So penalty miss and they lose. Obviously, most City fans, Alan, were rooting for them to lose, right? We're all rooting for Arsenal to lose, for PSG to win. But
I'll rephrase that for you.
Okay.
The whole of the UK, apart from Arsenal fans, wanted PSG to win, and they did.
Yeah,
that's the truth. That is the truth.
Steve Blackie says Arsenal too arrogant and expect everyone to love them. Get a grip. William comes back. AFC plan was decent, but then to a certain extent, I think yes, it was just too long to have to hold out. But they failed to execute at key moments. No issue with who you root for. All good. Big up. Ab says,
"Where's William from?"
William is from. I'm trying to remember if he was from the U.S. or from the U.K., but I know he's an Arsenal fan. Obviously, I want to say he's from the U.K. though. London. I don't know if it's London or wherever else. I'm assuming London, but I don't know. Ab said that
born London, Brixton.
Yeah. Problem is Arsenal scored way earlier than they thought they would. They closed up shop.
Lives in the US.
Yeah, thinking for 85 minutes they could not let PSG score. So born in London. Okay, there you go. Lives in the US. So it was all of the above was the answer. C, all of the above. Anyway, let's big up to Trev. We're gonna move off because I don't want to get stuck on this is old, right? The big up Trev. The Champions League was old, but I had to touch on it because it happened since the last time we were here. But I had to ask this question, and specifically for all of the City fans specifically, but anybody. We just watched PSG win consecutive back-to-back, 2 in a row, however you want to phrase it. They just won 2 Champions Leagues in a row. Does PSG's success, and I'm trying to understand how I want to phrase this, but does PSG's success shine a light on maybe what some would call failures by City and by Pep in the Champions League? Do you think we should have won more? We were the best, the undisputed best team in the world for a probably 4 to 5 year period. We ended up with 1 Champions League. And again, there's a lot that goes into that. Having watched PSG just win 2 in a row, do you feel like we should have won more? Did we not do enough with what we had at that moment?
I think the thing about the Champions League, I think it's the hardest to win because you've got the travel, you've got the unfamiliarity of the opponents. There's so many random elements. You're playing a fundamentally different kind of football to what is played all over the continent. English Premier League is very, very different. And in some eras, that's allowed teams to dominate in the Champions League. But it's much more difficult now. And so I think it's become more Eurocentric and more focused on the European style of play or the norms of European football. So I think it's hard to win a Champions League because it's a knockout tournament when it gets to that stage.
You just hit a nail on the head by saying it's a knockout
which is just
tournament.
random. Thanks, Al. And also that we play a fundamentally different game. European football is slower, is more controlled, is more defensive. And English football, British football, Scotland's the same. It's 100 miles an hour. And if they work out, they have whole eras where they work out how to nullify that. It's what Arsenal have done this year in our domestic league. They've played that continental close down the game method and closed down everybody this season, So it's not my favorite kind of football. I don't really watch a lot of European football. I'll watch the big games, Barca Real and all of those games. But I think there's a power struggle, Europe versus English football.
And I struggle to use the phrase or the word failure, right? Because it is, to your point, it is a, there's a certain amount of luck that's required for everybody that's going to win it. And it's hard to describe not winning the Champions League as a failure. But
we got 2 finals.
Well, see, this is my issue. We made incremental progress. It just feels like we had some real chances that I don't want to say squandered because that, again, it feels too strong. And again, there's nothing guaranteed. But when you watch this PSG team go out and win 2 in a row, it's like what could have been, what should have been. Maybe we could have done more, especially since we had, in my opinion, the best team in the league, in the world, and also the best manager in the world. We just didn't get over the line. Big up to Julio. Glad to have you, man. Appreciate you. Let me hit these answers from folks who responded.
There's a good one from William, actually.
So let's see. Julio, you just said yes. We'll get back to you in a minute. Ab says, don't get me wrong, we definitely should have won more, but UCL doesn't work like that, which I think we all agree. Shout out to Trev for being here, because again, you're bouncing in everywhere. You're all the shows all the time, so appreciate that.
I'm overexposed.
Joshua says that the UCL is probably Pep's biggest weak point. Steve says that we should have won more in Europe, but won more than we should have in the PL. So maybe it's a trade-off. I can understand that, because again, we did win 4 in a row, and that is unprecedented. So I get it. Joshua goes back and says it's not like we got outplayed all the time. Steve says it's a lottery. William says that it's kind of skewed towards Europe now.
That comment.
Yeah, the big Euro teams can pretty much guarantee qualification, while resting key players very much skewed towards Europe now, which is what we saw. When you look at the number of minutes played, the Arsenal players have played quite a bit more minutes in the league than their PSG counterparts. So I can understand why that statement is made. I think at the end of the day, you still have to win it, though. And you know, Arsenal was there. PSG was able to win it. They got over and got beyond even Bayern. They did the same with Arsenal. They're the best. If we're going to describe it this way, they're the best team in Europe for 2 years running. And so again, that's why I have to question: could we have won more? Should we have won more? So
I think Arsenal can't be said to be the best because they gamed the system.
Well, I was saying that PSG is the best because they just won back-to-back UCLs. So we're going to get to the World Cup in a minute, but no, I had not seen this, that Poch may leave before the World Cup. I don't think if you do that, I think you ruin any chances you have with any. If I'm a big club, I don't bring you in. There's a very strong real possibility that he goes to, I think it's AC Milan when it's all said and done. That's possible, very possible. But I just can't imagine him leaving before. That would be ridiculous.
If it's AC Milan, maybe they're salty that Italy aren't in the World Cup. And have said,
I mean, it's like
you can't be bothered. We have a cup. No job.
We're not worried about it. So just come on, big up. Julio, you came on when I asked the question, should we have done more? Did you have a response to that question specifically, or just in general?
Yes, I think we should have won more. And part of the reason why is that if you're going to call Pep one of the greatest ever, you have to judge him not harshly, but you have to be not sugarcoated and be like, you should have won more. Because that's the same.
Trebles on 2 continents. Come on.
No. That's amazing. That's amazing. But that's the same stick that's used against Sir Alex Ferguson. People said he should have won more Champions Leagues when he was at United. And a lot of Bayern fans feel the same way too. It's not like he was a failure at Bayern. It was just disappointing that they didn't win.
I think that's the frustration, because a lot of people will use the failure word, and it's hard to say you failed when you win the league every year and all that, right? It's hard to say that. But I think it's also fair to say that maybe there were higher expectations, or you expected more, you wanted something more. And I think that's fair. So I'm with you.
When you're world class, when you're judged to be the best ever, that's how you're going to be judged. You know, that's just the way it should be. And I always point to Zinedine Zidane. You know, he coached Real Madrid for 5 years, I think, total. 3 years in 2013, 2016, I think. And then 2 years, 2019, 2021. And he won 3 consecutive Champions Leagues. And I think part of the reason is that the Champions Leagues is kind of won on moments. You know, you have luck in the Champions League, but you also need to have players that are, and I think many people have said this, you need to have players that have that arrogance, that ego. They're going to I know the manager wants me to do this, but I know I need to do this, you know, to win the Champions.
Well, you are right about the moments thing, right?
Yeah.
The Champions League. You know, but let's face it now, in the last 20 years, you would say Barcelona are the best team in Spain consistently, right? to win a league over 38 games in England's point of view, it's about consistency, game in, game out, every week. You've got to turn up. Whereas the Champions League, the old European Cup, as I still call it, is one of moments and not on the day, right? So if you have one bad day, you're out. Simple as that. We had a bad day at Real Madrid where we didn't defend properly and we got smashed, and it happens. We messed up against Spurs at home in that quarter final. I was at that game, and our defensive Laporte had a nightmare against Son that day, an absolute nightmare. Couldn't handle him, and it happens. But if you're taking, to me, the most important trophy and the hardest is to win the league, right? To do it game in, game out. I call it the UEFA FA Cup, the Champions League, which it is. All right. So Real Madrid regard winning the Champions League or the European Cup as more important than the Spanish League, which is incorrect.
Yeah, I don't know if they see it. Maybe they do. I think they've had some more success there for sure. But I think that they want both. See, and this is my answer to the question here.
It's part of the fans gaslighting you because they do value the Premier League,
the La Liga.
But when they're not winning it, and Barcelona,
then you use that as a
thank you. They're like, oh no, we don't really care.
Yeah,
about it.
That's where I am. So to Ab's question, what would I rather take, the Prem or the UCL? If I'm always going to say the Prem. The Prem is our bread and butter. Yeah. I'm always going to say that. However, it doesn't mean that I don't think we should have won maybe one more Champions League in that run that we had. And again, maybe it's just me as a fan, just a little bit jealous of PSG, if I can be honest. Because again, they got that second one before we did. We got our first one first, but they got their second. And for right or wrong, I think PSG, Man City are always going to be compared to each other. It's kind of like, when Haaland came in the league and then immediately Liverpool went and got Darwin Núñez, right? They were always going to be compared to each other. Now, what you find out very quickly is that Darwin Núñez can't lace Haaland's boots, but they're always going to be compared to each other. When United went and got Rasmus Højlund, it sounded like Haaland. It kind of looked like Haaland, but he didn't play like Haaland. These players are always going to be compared, right? So PSG, Man City are always good. So I was gonna say Gyökeres too. They're always going to be compared, but I think for PSG, Man City, for rivals who want to hit us with the oil money, oil club, yada yada, with that stick, they're always going to compare the two of us because we both have Middle Eastern owners. We both have quote unquote oil money, yada, all those things. So they're always going to be compared. We got ours first, great, but then they went and got two in a row. It's like, oh, that kind of trumps what we just did in the Champions League. And again, we're talking about a trophy that only one team can win a year, right? It is not easy. I'm not trying to make it seem like.
Let's not overglaze them. They won it on pens.
Hey, this is what I said about Arsenal winning the league, and that is that you just have to find a way to get over the line. It doesn't matter how you do it. Just get over the line. Let everybody else figure out the whys and the what fors and all that kind of stuff. Just get over the line. And to Arsenal's credit this year, they got over the line before we did. Okay. Credit to them.
Hypothetical. How do we play Arsenal in the final? Who wins?
In the Champions League final?
Yeah.
Well, we've already beat them. We've already beat them. We beat them like twice and then drew them once, I think.
Yep.
So
and we destroyed them.
And we beat them in a final for the was it the League Cup? So yeah, we've already beat them. So it'd be easy for me to say, oh, we absolutely would beat them again. But if that would have been the fourth time that we played, I don't know, because it's hard to beat a team four times in a row.
We got better every time we played them.
Yeah,
we
fair.
drew the first one, we won the second one, and we destroyed them in the third one.
That's fair
because
too.
We sussed out what they do.
And I think this is why I think that. So there's a lot of Arsenal supporters, particularly those that are on social media, because those are the ones that you see. They're the ones that are in your face, right? They don't speak for everybody, but they do speak loudly. And when they speak, they tell me that they're guaranteed to be back. They're going to be back, and they're going to start this era of Arsenal dominance and all these things. These are all quotes out of their own mouths, right? And again, my issue is this. If winning the league back to back was easy, everybody would do it.
Yeah.
We, Man City, have made it look easy because we won 4 in a row. And now everybody thinks, well, everybody should be able to do that. But then when Liverpool win one, and then they fall apart. Arsenal is not guaranteed to be here next year. Maybe they will, but there's no guarantees. They got to go out there and do it. And so I think, in my opinion, and not just my opinion, again, this is the opinion of, if I can find, there we go. You would think I would be better at this. I need to work on this. I need to practice this part. But it is the opinion of the Athletic and all of those folks who said that the Premier League title race would have entered the final match round with Manchester City 2 points clear of Arsenal, according to the Athletic's analysis of key match decisions made by referees and their video assistants. Basically, what this says is if every call was made correctly. Oh, I lost Oriano. Big up, man. Glad to have you. If every call was made correctly, then we would have gained 4 points.
Yep.
And we would have gained 2 points. Arsenal would have lost 4. So, if that's the quote unquote facts of the matter, then, maybe we would have won the league.
What does it say about them? That's a damning statistic. But what does it say about them that some of the changes that FIFA are introducing to this World Cup are being nicknamed the Arsenal rules?
Well, so again, I think so you could say it's the Arsenal rules. At the World Cup, you might say it's the England rules just because England, Arsenal's in England. But I get it. Arsenal was probably the best at it. Let's be honest. There's a little bit of holding and grabbing that takes place at every penalty in England now. But it's because, in my opinion, it is because we have seen Arsenal do it and get away with it. So now everybody does it. And my hope is that they punish it and then everybody stops.
Okay, here's what happened last season. And I can back this up with documents, okay? Last season, the PGMOL in August released a statement. They knew there was a problem, right, with this. They knew there was a problem with Arsenal doing this. And they released a statement. And the actual word used was a crackdown on this, right? So Howard Webb and the PGMOL, it's a very strong statement that they released, and the commentary at the time from some of the media was, in the first couple of weeks, there'll be a few penalties given and people will stop doing it. And that will be the end of it. Thank God. Okay. What happened? Well, because Howard Webb, he isn't a leader. There is no leadership at the PGMOL. He's like a media-trained middle manager. He isn't a leader. And the referees are cowards because they wouldn't do that to the big teams. They weren't going to be the first guy to give someone a pen because of Arsenal holding them. So nothing happened. It wasn't implemented, but it was recognized as a problem in August last year with an official statement from the PGMOL about it. They just didn't do it. They didn't implement it. And because Howard Webb is not a leader, he didn't enforce it. He couldn't enforce it. His referees didn't respect him enough to say, right, that's it. That's from the boss. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
And so they gamed this season. You got to respect anyone who wins the Premier League. Fine. Right.
And that's what I was going to say. I want to make sure that I say Arsenal did enough this season to get across the line. That is not in contention. What I am saying,
have to do is respect how they did it.
Well, that's fair. I mean, as a rival, yeah, I absolutely don't. my point in bringing this up, though, was it was fine margins this season. My only point was to say there's no guarantee that Arsenal will absolutely be back, right? There's no guarantee they're going to get back to a Champions League final. There's no guarantee that they're going to win the league again. There's no guarantee that this is going to start some era of dominance, unless, of course, you consider the fact, and again, no disrespect, if you think that being in first or second place for 4 out of 5 years or whatever it is, if that's dominance, that era of dominance, fine. But you only won one league in that time frame. So if you're talking about winning the league as you're starting this era of dominance, there's no guarantees. And I just think that part gets lost because we watched this dominant City team go out and win 4 in a row and everybody thinks it's easy. It's not.
Right. There's no guarantee on what's going to happen to us now. We've got a new coach.
Agreed.
Rebuild. It's the unknown for us for a while. We're going to have to wait and see. To me, Maresca, decent manager, but he needs to prove himself to the City fans and everybody else that he can do it at the top level. We are in an unknown situation now.
Yeah, so I think that is absolutely fair, and we don't know what to expect, right? So right. Just like I said that Arsenal can't guarantee that they're going to be back. I can't guarantee that we're going to be there either because we don't know what we're going to see, and we don't know. Obviously, we don't know what the transfer window and all that kind of stuff. But
the difference in the fan base, and this is me now being as generous as I can to Arsenal fans, particularly the online ones. What you're not hearing from any City fans now is any hubris whatsoever. No bold statements that we're going to dominate and we are going to win this, and this next season. We enter this season humbly and being generous to Arsenal fans. I think their pain is more exquisite because of their hubris. Yeah. And I think it hurts them more losing this Champions League because of their hubris. They've given it the big one all year, all season. We're this, we're that, we're winning this, we're doing a quadruple, then it was a treble, then it was a double. And then they were all the week before the Champions League final, which is a lottery. We're going to destroy PSG. They're no good. Their players are crap. It's French football. It's a farmers league. All of this. And that's why it hurts them more. And I just wish they could be. And Haaland said, stay humble, eh? And I don't think that was banter. I think that was analysis and advice. Don't be this arrogant. Don't.
But aren't they very similar to Liverpool fans? They're entitled.
Not really. No, Liverpool fans have been brought down to earth in the last decade. Some of my best friends are big Liverpool fans, and they're match.
Well, I've got mates with Liverpool fans as well. So
yeah, and they're sound, you know. And if you've been to Anfield, I've been a lot. I've stood in the Kop, and it is the most knowledgeable football crowd. And I've been to a lot of away games. But the Kop at one point, I don't think they do it anymore. But I've stood in the Kop and watch them applaud a good move by opponents.
Oh, I was there in the League Cup semi-final when City were playing in the 81.
I was at that.
I couldn't get in the away end because there was no tickets left. So I ended up sneaking in the Kop and keeping my mouth shut.
I was going to say you made it out alive.
Yeah, well, you just keep your mouth shut. And I was with a mate, two of my best mates are big Liverpool fans and from Liverpool as well. And the Kop, when it was stood up, was the biggest human toilet in the world because you couldn't get out to have a piss. So you have to piss in front of the person in front of you if you wanted to piss. That's the truth. That is the truth. Trevor will tell you that. Trevor will tell you that.
One of the greatest atmospheres I've ever experienced was in the Kop, though, as well. You know, and I was at that game. That game is a big salty one in City history because we outplayed them at Main Road.
Yeah, we did.
We had a goal disallowed for what the referee called illegal jumping.
Yeah.
Kevin Reeves,
the goalkeeper. Yeah.
There was nothing wrong with it. The Liverpool players didn't complain. picked the ball up and were carrying it back to the halfway line.
Yeah.
And that referee blew and disallowed the goal, and nobody could believe it, not even the Liverpool players. And when he was interviewed afterwards, he said it was disallowed for illegal jumping.
Yeah.
And then we drew with them at Anfield. I think it was 2-2 at Anfield, and they went through on. No, it was 1-1 at Anfield.
1-1 at Anfield it was.
And they went away on they went through on away goals, was it?
Yeah, Dave Bennett scored.
But we outplayed them in both games.
Yeah.
So is it is it fair to say that you all would both prefer the league over the Champions League?
Yeah, definitely. But
what about in a one, not just as a general rule, but a one-off year? If next year, only next year, you could have one or the other.
The league.
All right, fair. Just checking to see if you're going to stick to your guns. I don't know. We'll see.
No, it just makes sure that Liverpool can't do that. Arsenal can't do 2 on the bounce. Anyone?
Yeah,
that's fair.
Exactly.
That's fair. No, that's
anyone
fair.
but Arsenal.
So that was Saturday. Moving off from the Champions League, because again that happened Saturday. Sunday we got a chance to watch City women win the FA Cup. The scoreboard said it was dominating fashion. We win the game 4-0. Scoreline, I'm certain, flatters us a bit, but we get the job done. We become winners of a league and cup or FA Cup double. So capping off an amazing season for the women. We got a chance to keep hold of Bunny. We won the league. We won the FA Cup. The only thing we didn't win was the League Cup. We weren't in Champions League this year, unfortunately, but we will be next year. It feels like the future for the women feels really, really positive and pretty wide open. They can kind of go with it anywhere they want. So really excited to see that. Ash points out that we won 3 FA Cups as a club this year. The men won the FA Cup, the women won the FA Cup, and I believe the U18s won the FA Cup, the Youth FA Cup. So yes, it was even when this being a down year for City, or what we believe it would consider it a down year, we still were able to pick up quite a few trophies as a club. So, yes, we had a celebration and in a parade and all those things, and I think it was very much well deserved. Did you guys get to watch any of that? If it's okay, if not, we'll just keep moving. But I wanted to shout them out because I've been talking about the women for the last couple of weeks, and so I wanted to draw some attention to it again as the season comes to a close. But question: did you guys see the supposed, I'll call it that, shirt for next year, the away shirt?
The black one?
Yes.
Yes, nice.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan.
Let me find this.
I'm a huge fan because black is slimming. It's
so
slimming
I saw quite a few
next season.
I saw quite a few people who were disappointed.
It's always the same with new shirts, mate. It's Marmite.
So
you either love it or hate it. Do you know what Marmite is?
I've heard of it. I've never had it.
Australians call it a Vegemite, but it's a yeast-based brown gloop that you put on your toast. And so, and there is never a balanced, nuanced opinion about it. You either love it or hate it.
That's very true. I say the same about peanut butter as well. A lot of people like peanut butter. I don't like it.
You don't like peanut butter?
No.
So, but in British slang, we call it a Marmite opinion.
You go in Coles,
it becomes slang for things that people are either loving or hating. It's
you go in Coles over here, and they obviously have Vegemite, which is a big seller over here.
It's not weaker. A fan. I've tried it. It's weaker than Marmite.
And then you go down to the British section, and they have Marmite there. So that's what my mate gets now. Because I'm not a fan of it, but the mate gets the mate.
You should try it, Harry. I'd love to know your opinion on Marmite.
So you got to understand. One thing you got to learn about me is my palate is not very well refined. Right, I eat basic stuff. I eat basic stuff.
Well, get a test bunny, and you know, like the kids.
Well,
or
now we
whatever, or
will. So
family.
what we will do as a family is we will taste test stuff and you know, see like
Do
one
it.
little taste of
Film
it, so
it.
we could do that.
Film it. We want
This
Marmite
is
taste test.
this is what City Extra have posted, and it's hard to really see it here because it doesn't show the
The
I don't know what you want to call it, but I don't know if you call it sublimated. I don't know, but there's bees kind of in this background, this pattern, this bee pattern. There's a lot of you know, people that feel strongly one way or another about how they do or don't like it. A lot of people don't like the yellow. This is maybe not the best picture.
Gold would have been better.
So when you say gold, what does that mean? Because I don't know that I've seen really gold. So this is a better picture. So you can see here they just call it the Manchester bee. I don't know if you call it that, but
yeah, it is.
the
Yeah,
background. And then it's just that yellow. It's a pure yellow color. Black
The
and
yellow would have a bit more orange in it.
Okay,
a bit of orange.
Fair.
You know, to warm it up a little bit, as opposed to like a lemon yellow.
Yes. All right. Fair enough. Something. Hold on. Gotta untangle myself. So
there you
something
go.
like that.
Yeah. There you go.
So this is my local team here in the city that I live.
Right.
It would be effectively a third tier team, if you want to say it that way. US doesn't really have a pyramid like that, but if we did, it would be a League Three. I'm tripping. Third tier. So yeah, this has drawn a lot of controversy. A lot of people aren't a fan. The old image that I had seen a couple months ago had a huge bee, one big bee as opposed to a bunch of small bees. I really liked that one. I'll see if I can find that image again, but
there it is with Ireland.
Well, yeah, so exactly. This is the one that I saw previously. I like this a lot.
Yeah, I agree.
I wanted this one. Too. I wanted this one. So I was a little disappointed when I saw the other image from, I think it's Footy Headlines or whatever it's called. I don't know, but I still, fingers crossed, we get this one. I like this one a lot. Would love to see this, but if you saw the images, tell me which one you like, you don't like. And then I think the third shirt is supposed to be a throwback to I think it's the 12-13 or 13-14 with the sash, but instead of the blue stripe, but instead it's down the middle as opposed to offset like it was in the back in the day. So we will see.
Yeah, can I just address a couple of comments?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Some people seem to be arguing that Arsenal somehow have been specifically targeted with hate, and that they were not online filled with hubris and boastfulness. That's not true. It's absolutely true. They have more fan channels than anybody else. I'm not going to be mean here. I'm just addressing what people are doing.
Sure.
Okay. It's got to a point here where Arsenal fans are now saying that it's actually racism why everybody hates them, which is absolute BS, right? Because if there's anything that's multicultural in the UK, it's the Premier League. But rather than admit that people hate them because of the cynical, negative anti-football that they play, they'd rather say, oh, it's not that, it's racism. That's what's happening. That's how the argument's turned over the last couple of days.
So I have not seen that, but
it needs to be addressed, you know.
And what I'll say is,
Trev, hasn't the world got to that point anyway with social media about racism and carrying on?
But the other thing is that, you know, they're saying that their online fan base don't represent them. I'm afraid they do.
Well, this is what I was going to say, and then I'm going to leave it because I don't want to get too far into some of this other because again that we could go down that path
but then somebody just a bit. Hang on, inevitably someone a little bit further on.
See you, Alan.
See you later. See you, Trav.
Inevitably, as they always do, a little bit in a few comments, the number 115 comes up, and this is a pattern.
Well, yeah. So again, is it a pattern? Yes. Do I? If you're a Arsenal fan, of course you're going to bring up 115. Why would you not? I think so again, no one person or one perspective represents an entire fan base, right? So yes, it is fair to say that whatever if I don't want to name names, but if social media content creator X, Y, and Z, they may say something, it does not represent the entire fan base. That is a true statement. However, they are the most vocal, most public in the face of the club online, at least. And it doesn't feel like there are any people saying anything contradictory to that online. So it doesn't represent an entire fan base. That's fair to say. But there's no one else saying anything different representing that club either.
And I'd just like to say, William, I wasn't accusing you of that. I'm telling you what I see. Okay. And I get a lot aimed at me from Arsenal fans here. Okay. So I'm telling you what I see as a macro helicopter view of what's happening with the Arsenal fan base online at the moment. So and we're seeing quite a lot of that.
So what I don't want to do is get into a kind of a back and forth about Arsenal, right? Because again,
but it's also not William. To be fair,
club.
I'm sorry, but also to be fair, William, it's not a vocal minority. It's millions of people who are doing this.
I think that's probably an overstatement. Again, if we say, and again, I'm gonna say names just to make it real, right? If I say AFTV said X, Y, and Z, or somebody on AFTV said X, Y, and Z, that represents AFTV. Even the people that watch AFTV don't necessarily have to agree with everything that is being stated. Yeah. If I see what is his name? Used to be in Canada, now in the UK. His name will come back to me. I forget it. But again, very popular, always has controversial opinions. He supports his club, to his credit. I think the things that he says are ridiculous, but he believes them. So that's fine. So that now the issue, I definitely don't want to get into the racism, but what I will say is I'm in the US, right? So I have no space to speak on this stuff because I don't know it. I haven't lived it, whatever. What I will say is that I have been told that going back years, decades, however long, I don't know, that a lot of minorities became Arsenal fans as opposed to, say, Chelsea fans or Tottenham fans or whatever. And so they might see the club as being the club that represents the minorities. Now, again, I don't know anything about any of that stuff.
I mean, a lot of Americans couldn't name more than one place in England except for London, and they look at the London teams. So then that's normal. That's fine.
So, but I'm saying the people that live in London have said that that's how they view Arsenal as the club for minorities or whatever. But again, that's neither here nor there. I don't think that the criticism personally is about who or what they represent. I think it's about the style of football. It's about the conversation, the banter, yada, yada. Yes, Dan Potts is a good one. I like Dan Potts. I don't know him personally, but I do like him. But again, we won't stick on Arsenal because again, we could be here all day. And again, they're not my club. I don't, whatever. I do want to make sure that we are fair to individual people while also being able to have a good time, right? This is supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be entertainment. So it's okay to have banter. It's okay to, kind of have a little bit of back and forth. But at the end of the day, I want to make sure.
I focus quite a lot on media.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
well,
buy a
so
lot of media for my clients. I'm a big fan of journalism and great journalism, and the online phenomenon is another area that's over the last decade has become prominent. And I don't pay a lot of attention to individuals or stuff like that. I just see patterns, and I like to talk about those, and there is a great conversation maybe in the close season to be had, even globally, about how that industry is working at the moment, because I think it's at a tipping point. I think people have had enough of some things, and I think authentic voices like yours, sincere authentic voices like yours, and the Mancunian way is going to be where people are going to go to, because they've had enough of these manufactured beefs and scripted beefs on these well-produced shows that are started by amateurs, but there's just so much money in it now that the beefs are being ramped up, and I think that there's a good conversation, but not for today.
I appreciate that. Yeah, I think that, I want to make sure that this, so again, I am unabashedly, unequivocally a City fan and will always be that, right? But I also want to make sure that the space here is cool for anybody. You don't have to be a City fan to come here and be a part of this show and chop it up. Now, again, I might banter you a little bit because that's not what I do, but I might do it a little bit just because I'm a City fan. Well, that's what I'm supposed to do. And, I expect you to banter me back, but I want to make sure that, everybody feels welcome. So not that I think that you or anybody else has made anyone feel unwelcome, but I'm saying that out loud. I want everybody to be welcome. Now let's move off of Arsenal because I don't want to get stuck there. And we'll get off the shirt too. I want to talk about the manager merry-go-round. So we are still waiting. Bob asked the question, have we talked transfers yet? No, we haven't got to transfers yet, but we're almost there. We're still waiting. There's still no official word about who the next City manager is going to be. We all expect it to be Maresca. It's probably already done, but just hasn't been announced yet. So I want to know what you think, not about Maresca, but about his long-term replacement being Xabi Alonso at Chelsea. How do you think he gets on at Chelsea this coming season? Can he get them back to consistently competing at the top of the table?
I'm just waiting for the chat to answer it because I need a couple of minutes to think about that. I haven't really thought about it before. It's a great question.
So I'll tell you what my thoughts are, right? I think it will depend on, so the ownership has up until this point shown that they want tight control on, what the transfer policy is. They've decided to go very young and full of potential. In my opinion, that thinks that it is about buying low, selling high. It's like stock trading. And they are hoping to get somebody and then at low that they can then turn around and sell high and hit. Big up Oriano. I know you were on a little bit earlier and I didn't get to you. Appreciate you. So I think it matters if they give him more control. If they say, we have this approach, you have to just figure it out. I think it just continues more of the same. Now, he's a better manager probably than those other managers, so maybe he can make it work than say better than maybe Liam Senior did. But I don't know that he can get them back to the top and to the heights without a change in the philosophy that the ownership is following. Oriano, can Xabi Alonso get Chelsea back to the top?
I think he can, but as you said, I think he needs to be the manager, not the head coach. He needs to be the manager, and I feel like they're gonna have to back him because his system, his style, it needs a little bit of time to get the players to follow and all that because it's not an easy system, and Chelsea don't really play that way. But I think if they back him and they give him the time, I think he can do it in the long term.
Yeah. So William just asked, in what time frame? So how long do you think it takes for him to get them back to the top? Of course, it depends on As Brianna Citizen just said, depends on if they give him control. I agree. Do we think can he get them back in 3 years' time?
Again, it depends because we don't know who they're gonna sign and all that stuff.
So Martin tells us that he is the manager, not the first team coach. So assuming he has some control over transfers and all that kind of stuff, I think that'll help him. That improves his odds. Is 3 years? Are they 3 years away? Can they get it done in less than that?
I think they can get it done in 3 years.
Okay.
Tarek, how would you categorize what they've been trying to do? Do you see a pattern from the ownership model of what the plan was that didn't work? It's not Moneyball, is it? Initially, I thought they were trying
no,
it's
not Moneyball per se, but it's similar. It is if we. So again, even the idea of buying or signing those super long contracts, I'm willing to pay you longer term for less, because again, if you hit, it allows me to, I can more easily move you on. And you have the idea of, hey, I'm under contract for X number, so I have some stability. Even if I were to get injured and I was to lose my career, I still have some continuity there. So as a player, maybe that's why you take it. But yeah, it is very much dependent on enough players hitting and either staying or being able to move them on and make money on them.
So
because
almost like
if you can buy
a percentage gamble almost.
Oh yeah, as I said, it's like stock trading. If I can buy a player for 25 or 30, and then I turn around and sell them for 80, 90 every time, my profit margins are out of this world. So yeah, I think that it is a combination play of buy low and then try to get those hits. But again, if you think about what you see on the Dodgers, they are willing to pay money for the best players. So I'm waiting to see if they change their approach and kind of take that up, because the Dodgers throw money around. Now they won the league a couple as far as baseball. So they're what's the owner? Whatever his name is, I forget, but he's proven he's willing to throw money around. And when he first came to Chelsea, again, he was trying to buy players. If a player, we talked about Cucurella, he was being linked with City. Well, if City want him, he must be good. Let me spend the money and go get him. That's how he just throw money around, because again, didn't know. So we'll see how he manages.
I think the business model is radically different to everyone else that's ever come into the game. I think they're
because he doesn't have the background of football being it's about trophies. And again, in the US, you want to win trophies, but there's no penalties for not winning them. There's no penalties for not being.
Okay, so but as a cold, hard business model, trophies are optional here. Profit is not an option. You have to make profit.
Yes.
Okay, so just as a cold, unattached businessman with no cultural ties to the game, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. No, if he's bought it as a business, he's bought this business, and I think a lot of businessmen can't believe it, where they've got this profitable entity with millions of people who will follow it, buy the merch, and pay subscriptions for TV, which brings in the advertising revenue and so on. But actually, they're not going anywhere. They are the most sticky fans in the world, because people.
Todd Bowley, thank you, yeah, Jared. Yes,
the domestic fan base, and I think our American fan base, and a couple of other countries. It's certainly not true in Asia. But Asian football fans are very promiscuous. They will change teams every season, and there is no hit for it. There's no social shame or embarrassment. I see it every day. I live in Asia. Okay, so 8 years ago, 9 years ago, saw lots of Leicester shirts. Never see them. see a lot more City shirts in the last 8 years or
I'm
so.
imagining they probably support players,
No,
especially if you.
no,
Well, I was
they'll
gonna say. Well, I was gonna say if there are Asian players, because what like for City, right? When we had Riyad Mahrez, we had a lot of
we had the
Algerians.
Algerian. Yeah.
When we had Edin Dzeko,
No, we've got Uzbeks now.
yeah. So again, I think there is a certain amount of this player that I'm following and I'm supporting because maybe this is the first time that we get a player on this level or whatever.
So few. Well, let me put it as Southeast Asian. There are so few Southeast Asian fans.
Fair.
Players that they pick a team, and so
they go with the winners.
English fans, and I think largely American fans, pick a team, and that's their team, and they will support that team through thick and thin. So in England, those fans will turn up every week. Yeah. Regardless, we turned up every week at near capacity at Main Road in the 3rd tier and in the 2nd tier. The Main Road held 36,000. We were getting 30 in the 3rd tier and 35 in the 2nd tier. And we'd probably do similar numbers at the Etihad, although we now have more tourists who aren't fans. They're coming for the day out. That's fine. Welcome. Spend some money. Help our club. Beautiful. But I think some American, especially American businessmen like Bowley, who, he's just a cold, hard business guy, no sentiment involved.
Exactly.
Right. I think there are.
That's my take on it. Now, again, I don't know.
I think there are American owners who have sentiment involved. They come here, they fall in love with it, and they get involved. They exist too. So it's not an anti-American thing I'm saying.
Sure.
But what I'm saying is if you're a businessman, you can't believe your luck. You have got this customer base,
but the difference
will never leave you.
But the
never
difference,
go to the shop, never shop anywhere else.
But the difference, though,
anything.
Trev, the difference is that if my team doesn't perform, then they go down, and then I run the risk, even if it's not the locals, but I lose potentially the tourist. I lose the more fickle, folks that maybe are, gonna whatever. And so that type of quote unquote jeopardy doesn't exist in the US because like you have London is around the same size as New York, maybe slightly bigger, slightly smaller. I don't know, but it's about the same size.
Right.
How many football teams are in London? We can just say 8. In the Premier League, it's probably seven, six, seven,
8, between 6 and 8.
That's just in the top level. That doesn't even count all the way down the.
Oh, you could go much further
pyramid,
with Reading,
right? So, but like a city like New York, if we talk about U.S. sports, it has 2 baseball teams. It has 2. Technically, it has 1 basketball team, but let's just say 2. 2. It has 2 basketball teams. It has 2 football teams, right? Or American football teams. So it is capped. They won't let anybody else start a team in these areas because, again, they protect the location. Again, this is getting technical, and I don't want to stay too much time on this, but there are built-in things to protect the clubs or the franchises exactly that don't exist in other sports. And so over here, our media, and if you ask a lot of like online fans over here that maybe aren't Premier League fans, they'll tell you, oh, that could never work over here because what owner is going to want their team to go down and whatever. But these same owners will go out and buy and be invested in Premier League teams, no problem. They run that jeopardy over here, but they're not willing to do it over here.
I'd love to know
it's part of the culture.
If there's any American Spurs fans, how did you feel with your first flirtation with that jeopardy? Did it make it more exciting?
Yeah. I mean, so I will, and we're going to move off of this, but I think for me, having Tottenham been a quote unquote Big 6 team most of my time watching the league, it was shocking to me because it's like, wow, this is a big club that really might go down. I've seen Everton be in that position. They might go down. So there were others that have walked that line. If you think about, and then, again, Newcastle,
mate,
West Ham went down.
I've been at the games where we went down.
Yeah. So I think it is it is something that I want to see in American sports. I don't know if I ever will, but I'm hoping and praying. But moving off of Xabi Alonso, Liverpool went out and signed Areola, Adoni Areola, to become their head coach. And it's interesting. It does say head coach because we're in the chat. I see you guys are talking about manager versus head coach. But Andoni Areola to become head coach. He's going to sign a 2-year contract. He's going to bring a lot of his staff over with him. We've seen promising managers fail when they make that step up. We saw Thomas Frank. We've seen others that, you know, you look at and say, oh, they're really promising. Glasner, who didn't really fail, but I don't know that he hit the way we was hoping that they might hit. I don't know. So I guess I have to ask the question, do we think that Areola can do what Slot failed to do this season? Can he get them back playing at that top level? I don't know. Put in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Put in there and let me know what you think about Areola at Liverpool.
The way I characterize Areola is via the lens of leadership, and that to me is the most important thing. And I think that he's taken several teams that he's had to rebuild, got them to believe and commit to what he wanted them to do, and then implemented it, because having the dream and implementation is 2 different sets of skills. And this takes leadership, convincing people to buy into what you want and what you believe in is a completely different skill than arranging talented individuals to do the right thing and do the basics right, and then give them the chance to shine. What Areola did was that he not only recruited talent, he brought it through. He had to sell them, which wasn't his fault, but then replace them. And when you have that continuity despite personnel changes, that means there's leadership going on. One definition of leadership is it's what happens when you're not there. And what that means is that everybody who's on your ship knows where the ship's going. So you don't have to be there. You know how everything works and where the destination is. You don't have to be reminded of it every day. It doesn't ever change. And so that's why I think Areola makes Liverpool the biggest threat this season. Depending on how they buy, I think they can, bite the bullet and drop a couple of players who are clearly not Premier League ready. And I think maybe they indulge Wirtz another season, but he doesn't look like he gets it. He doesn't look like he understands what his role is now. What
do we think that Wirtz is a good player? I think he is, which is why a lot of City fans, probably most City fans, wanted him. I think he's a really good player. I think that Slot did not do a good job of platforming him. Maybe he's just not fit for the Premier League. That's a possibility, because not everybody can make that transition from league to league. That's very much a possibility. We don't know. But I mean, I have to say that, and I have to be honest enough to say that I thought he was a really good player when he was in Germany. And, I thought he would be great here. Now, maybe that's a managerial thing. Maybe Areola can come in and get him playing in a different way, get him in that 10 spot, getting him thriving. I don't know. I mean, let's be honest. I hope he doesn't. I hope he does not, get it together, because, again, that makes it better for me as a City fan. So we'll see. But I have to bring this up, and I'm imagining that some of you probably saw this, because this is, when I saw this, I thought, I don't know that I believe it. I probably don't believe it, but let's see it anyway. Inter Miami reportedly exploring a sensational move for Pep Guardiola. Of course, Inter Miami is the team. It's the David Beckham team, the team that he was able to form there in the Miami area.
This was immediately met with skepticism from journalists I trust.
Yeah, I don't, like I said, I don't know that I believe this.
David Beckham just bought himself $10 million worth of advertising.
And I think more than anything,
dropping that sentence out.
Yeah, I think it was just simply because, Messi's there, and Messi gets his friends to come. They just had the Argentine midfielder. He used to play for Liverpool. He was the manager there. What is his name? Played at
But
Barcelona.
you understand what I mean? He's just done. He's for free. Just got millions of dollars.
Oh yeah, I mean, anytime you get your name out there for free like that, yeah. So again, I think if you ask MLS fans, and I'm not necessarily one of those, Mascherano, thank you, DJN Mascherano. He was the manager there. I think he just recently got fired. But if you ask MLS fans, I don't know. I think they feel like Inter Miami gets away with stuff. They get to bend the rules a bit. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's how they would take it. So if Pep comes in, it would be a lot of uproar, I'm sure. Less so for a player, but still still a little bit of an uproar. Now, as a City fan, if Pep rocked up in Inter Miami this year, how would you feel?
No, I'd be surprised. I think the dude wants a break.
Yeah, I hope he takes the break and didn't just, I'm ready to leave. I think he needs the break, which is why, again, I don't believe this. But, I have to talk about it because it is.
Yeah.
It's out
It is
there.
That's why it's a brilliant PR move by David Beckham et al.
Yeah.
Because everyone's talking about it and you can't get better advertising than that for free.
And so I saw earlier, and I almost brought it to the show, not today, but a couple of weeks ago. But what is his name? But he's a former. So as you guys can see, it's been a long day. My brain is not working. Yeah. But former U.S. national team player basically said that the U.S. national team or the federation should basically throw all the money in the world at Pep, get him to come and get him to. He said that he's probably not going to want to be the manager, but if you brought him in to be like a technical director and kind of set the direction for U.S.
Got a job.
Who has a job? Pep.
He's still employed by the club.
But I think if you're an American football fan or you're invested in that, we have a long way to go. And so somebody like a Pep coming in, you would feel like, oh my God, it can shortcut the process in some way. But again, do I think that this is a real thing? No, I don't. Would it be great for Snoopy, who's down in the Miami area? Yeah, Snoopy would love that, I'm sure. I would find a way to go to a match just because it's Pep, but I don't think there's anything here.
And William says he doesn't see him as a national team guy, and I'm kind of got a lot of sympathy for that.
Yeah, the reason you don't see him as a national team guy is he needs time with the players. He needs time to embed his system, and he's on the pitch, and you just don't get enough time with him when you're only a national team manager, which is why I think I forget his name. His first name starts with an H. Anyway, but that's what he was saying. He's like, Pep wants that time. He needs that time. So maybe you don't make him the manager, but you make him like a technical director or something like that, where he can kind of go around the country and do whatever to try to build U.S. The bottom line is the U.S. is way off where it probably should be. And maybe that's me just being overly whatever. Our country is too huge to not be able to produce top level talent.
True. But American stand-ups still do jokes about soccer.
Yeah, I mean,
ridicule it. And, so the cultural thing has got a ways to go to, I think.
Yes. But it's changing. And things like this World Cup, if it were handled better, would help. We're going to talk about the World Cup in a minute. But let's talk transfers. Martin is here. He has made it. As you guys know, I have called and I have
why am I always the transfer section?
You are the ITK for the show. No. I've told you that's your job.
I wanted to talk about other stuff. You're me into transfers.
Well, when we get done talking this, we can talk World Cup, because I do have that on my list too.
No, just a quick one on the Pep stuff. Pep said many, many times managing a national team is something that really interests him.
Yes, because when Brazil opened up, there was a lot of discussion on if he would try to take that one.
I think he's done with club management. I think he's done with club management now. I think it'll be a national job. And the thing is, there's only one place he'll go in America. The only place he'll touch in America is New York.
Because of I know he lived there for a while. Is that because you think it's tied because of the tie to CFG or because of his affinity for New York?
I think he'll be tied for City forever. Trev's quite right. He's our global ambassador as well. He's still technically being paid by the club. This got missed by a lot of people. He is still within the Manchester City family. He's just from afar now. The New York one, I think he could go and do a director's role or something there. It would never surprise me one day Pep comes back as a Cheeky or a Biana or something in that sort of sense. I think that's something that will excite him. I just think club management, other than Italy, where does he need to go? He's conquered Spain, he's conquered England, he's conquered Germany. Where does he go? There's Italy, that's it. And he's very loyal to his club. So he's not going to manage another club in Germany. He won't manage another club in Spain. And he won't manage another club in England.
So William Jarrett, hold on real quick. NYCFC or Pants. Okay. My daughter played for them, laugh out loud. So I assume it's one of the academy teams. I don't know, the age of your kids. I don't want you to share that online, but are we talking like a youth age group or how, like at what level?
Yeah,
I know there's not a women's team. There's not a women's team for NYCFC. There is a women's team in the New York area. Gotham. So Gotham is there, but
I would support them because of the name. I would love to support a team called Gotham.
Yeah, that's the women's team in the US, but it's not tied to. It's separate. It's not Gotham. So, NYCFC.
No. Yeah. That's right. NYC. Yeah. It doesn't matter whether they're crap or not. I think Williams missing the whole point.
Played for Gotham. Interesting.
Wow.
So cool. your kid is playing really high level football. That's interesting. I always wanted so just to kind of peek into the US a little bit. NYCFC, of course, is tied to CFG and to Man City. There was a women's program here in the New York area. It was the New York Sky Blues originally. When NYCFC came in, I hoped that they would just buy the New York Sky Blues and fold them into NYCFC and just have NYCFC women. I don't think the owners wanted to sell or something, so it never happened. And then you got New York, New Jersey, kind of the Gotham.
New York can't buy anyone, Tariq.
When you say they can't buy anyone, what does that mean?
They're officially owned by the CFG. City Football Group would have to buy them.
Well, that's what I meant. I meant that, I wanted them to.
New York City is not a separate entity.
Yeah.
It's a separate entity within the MLS. It's not a separate entity within the CFG group.
Yeah. So what I wanted was them to buy the club and then turn it into NYCFC women, just like we have a Manchester City women. That's what I wanted. Didn't happen. It is what it is. But the fact that his daughter played at that level, that's big. Congratulations to your kid. But go ahead, Martin. So let me say this too. NYCFC has a new stadium that they are about to open.
2027, I believe.
Yeah, it's going to be supposed to be really nice. One of the nicest, of course, new stadiums in the country. So we'll see how it gets on. They've needed a stadium, their own stadium for a while. Go ahead.
How many Etihad campuses are going to be around this world?
Yeah.
We're going to have an Etihad campus on every single continent. It's going to be quite fun.
Well, they're doing a city. I don't know what they're calling it, but basically a city academy in the Dallas, Texas area. So again, they're trying to get in at the youth level with youth programs there. Again, it's completely different than it is in the UK, but they are trying to bring quote unquote city football, the city way, all of that to the US, and there's people that are buying into it. I see it online and all that. So, you know, I hope that so as selfishly as an American, I want to see a US based player get over to city and really thrive. People know I've got a DeMarcus Beasley jersey sitting right there on my wall. So that's not, I don't make any secret about that, but
that gives me and Trev PTSD when you start mentioning those players. No offense, but
Trev smiled. Trev smiled. Trev had happy thoughts.
But now I'm twitching. Look,
he had happy thoughts, Martin. That's just you.
That's
just you, Martin.
Yeah, I watched him live. That was the bloody problem.
Hey, listen. This is what we're not gonna do. We are not going to criticize DeMarcus Beasley. You have to hang up and do that, or I have to mute you while you do it. One of the two.
Don't diss DeMarcus.
I will diss DeMarcus. Thank you very much.
So to Andrew's point, before DeMarcus, there was Claudio Reyna. Yes,
exactly. We're not having a great moment here, are we? You'll be naming the Australian lads in a minute.
When Claudio came to us, though, he was quite glamorous. You know, we all thought, oh, look.
That was our big signing then.
It was our big signing. We were dead excited. And then we saw him play.
Yeah, and then it changed.
So again, as a American, his son, Gio Reyna, came up playing through NYCFC. The thought was, in my head at least, he was going to come over to City, finish his academy stuff, and then get into the City. But he ended up going to he went to Dortmund instead.
Okay.
Which shocked me and kind of disappointed me to a certain extent. And then his career has kind of been up and down, whatever. So he's on the team for the World Cup. Don't know how much he'll play. He's kind of had a lot of injuries recently. There was some issues with Claudio Reyna and the old manager, or the old US coach. So it's drama. But you know, we'll see if he can do anything. But I was hoping that he was going to be the one that comes over. He's got the pedigree from his dad playing for City, and he's going to come over and do it. But no one has done it yet. Somebody mentioned Eric Palmer Brown. Yes, there's a player in the academy. Hold on, Christian McFarlane. I think he's a left back. Came out of City or NYCFC. Came over. He came over. He's like 18, so he's still young. He's got a chance. Go ahead, Martin.
DJM, Claudio was better than Gio. Who does he mean by Gio? Because I hope he don't mean King Cladze.
His son. He's saying Claudio was better than his son, Gio Reyna.
I thought he meant King Cladze, because I was about to say, if he's saying Reyna was better than King Cladze.
No. He's saying dad is better than the son.
Okay.
Yeah. Then I worry about his son then.
Well, his son. So again, his son, he's had some injuries, but I think he should have come to City. Again, you go to Dortmund because you've seen so many young players come through Dortmund and get a chance, and then parlay it into bigger and better things. So I get why he did it, but you know, whatever. People talk. I see Bob and talking about Zach Steffen. Yeah, I was hoping that Zach was going to be all right, but didn't actually happen. Claudio and Danielle went full soccer parent, typical and the biggest issue in the USA, parents. This is 100% true. William, I know, was born in the UK, but he lives in the US, and he is absolutely 100% right here. And it starts with the parents at the youngest ages. When my kid was 10 years old, 10 years old, our parents on our sidelines, me included, were the loudest. They were the loudest at 10. As you go through it, you understand to shut up and just let your kid play. I had moments where the director of coaching from our club was on the sidelines with his phone videoing because he wanted to know which parents were doing all of the yelling and the talking, not just cheering, but, you know, yelling at your kid, yelling at the coaches, yelling at the refs, all of these things. It was ridiculous. At 10 years old, they just learning how to dribble the ball. What are we doing? But that was the life, and that's the U.S. in a nutshell. And it's not just football; it is youth sports in the U.S. Period. There are so many videos of parents fighting referees in every sport. It's horrible. Got to get the adults out of youth
Does
sports.
that mean it's entered the lexicon of a definition of an American dream for poor people?
So
sports is
I will,
often seen by, it's not a racial thing, I'm sure. It's just it's a poor people's way out. It's boxing, it's basketball.
Yes, sports is sports is looked at as a way out. Yes, absolutely.
And is that quite
and then
recent for soccer to be that thing? I called it soccer.
Yeah, there you go. See, just join the crowd. So I do both. I'll flip back and forth. It just all depends.
I never do.
But so William Jarrett is perfect, man. He's right on top. So the issue is it is seen as a way out. Sports in general is a way out, but soccer or football in the US, you have to have money to play it. You have to have a lot of money.
Wow, you see.
So I will tell you that again, we don't have as many clubs and as many things, right? And the way it's set up is different. I literally saw a post in social media where someone was saying that you could spend anywhere from $19,000 to about $25,000 a year trying to chase the dream of high level football.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
What?
Okay.
So if your kids, because like my kid right now, right, when she was coming up, her team was the highest level in our area. And then it was, okay, if we want to go to another level, we have to drive 2 hours to be on a different team. You could drive 2 hours south. You could drive an hour and 45 minutes north.
I'd say that's why you'll never compete on the global scale. You'll never.
Yeah.
So these are the things that make soccer, quote unquote, in the US it's exactly why.
But this is why
we would have had to drive. So me and my wife together, we decided that we weren't going to make that commitment, right? We weren't going to drive 2 hours, 3 times a week, 4 times a week, and then pay $5,000 a year in fees, and then your uniform kits and all that kind of stuff, right? We just didn't think that it made sense for us. So the club kept moving up as other opportunities became available, but there were people on our team originally that left to go play for other teams because you get more exposure. It's a higher competition, whatever. And so when you want to play in college, the college coaches are recruiting from only a certain number of clubs. There's clubs in a certain competition. So if you want to be seen, you have to go there and you have to pay it.
That's toxic. Absolutely toxic. Because what you're doing is by using money to restrict the available population that you recruit from.
Absolutely.
So that basically the only people who ever make it are middle-class kids whose parents can afford it. And that is
absolutely
a stupid way to run a national football league and expect it to produce the excellence that can excel on a national level, because you're immediately closing down 80% of your population from getting access.
Yeah.
And that happens in colleges. I mean, how many lines are working at 7-Eleven?
Martin, I think you got an echo.
Yeah.
All right.
Look at Latin America. Their greatest players come out of favelas and beaches.
Yes.
And, we have this phrase in England, jumpers for goalposts, because it's the cheapest game to play. That's why the world plays it, because all you need is a ball. It can be a tennis ball. It doesn't matter. You put a couple of T-shirts down or a couple of coats down or a couple of jumpers in the phrase jumpers for goalposts, and you've got a game. It's free. You can have a can if you haven't got a ball. I've played football with a can because we didn't have a ball.
Yeah. And so you don't really see a lot of, and this is, again, sports in general has become, when I came up, we played basketball in the park and you learned everything from everybody. The older kids were teaching the younger kids, and you learn by playing with people older than you, all of that. Right. And you don't have people playing in parks like that anymore. Everything is, I don't want to say professionalized because that's not the right word.
No, it's been
But
commercialized.
well, but
turned
even
into a
like
business.
you only play for AAU programs, or you only play indoors. You don't. It's whatever. Anyway, so while we got Martin back, I want to get to transfers. So Josko Gvardiol moved to end speculation over his future, insisting he has settled at Manchester City. We've all seen various rumors from every direction. I'm happy at City. I have everything I need. Before the injury, I played every match, almost full minutes. After the World Cup, we will see what happens. And I think that last phrase threw people off. After the World Cup, we'll see what happens next. Martin, are we going to lose Gvardiol?
I would very much doubt so. They've offered him a contract, huge pay rise, and it should be all sorted out when we come back from the World Cup.
Sweet. That's that I think would be. I'm
going to take a very silly offer to get him
I put him first because I feel like he is. That would be the most disappointing thing to me. Seconded only by Rodri, who Rodri wants more than the club is willing to spend, quote unquote. I saw today that Kanate from Liverpool just basically is going to go to Real Madrid on a free. We know that that's their modus operandi. We saw the same with Trent Alexander-Arnold. Are you concerned about him rocking up to Real Madrid on a free after this next season? Will he just play it out and go on a free?
Yeah.
Or
yeah, I'm major concerned about it.
Yeah.
I'm not changed on that. I'm one of them. How much money is enough money? You've been offered 375, around 400. You want more. Reportedly want more. I'm in a situation where, I said this last night, we already have the highest earner in the whole Premier League. If we go above what Rodri's asking, we will have the two top earners in the Premier League. That will be a concern to the club. The club, which we'll probably get onto the Elliot Anderson stuff shortly. The club will spend money. They won't spend money irresponsibly. There are two differences. They will spend the money in the right areas. They'll spend money when it's required, but I just think, I don't think they'll give him the money, but I think it'll be take it or leave it. And we'll see what happens. But if he was that keen to stay, would he have not already signed it? This is a question I keep asking myself.
I have to be consistent, right? When I saw Bunny Shaw, I was like, give her the money. She's the best in the world at what she does, yada, yada, boom, boom, right? I argue that we should pay her. I don't care, make it work. So now I'm torn because I see Rodri, who on his day is the best in the world as a defensive midfielder. Now, he's been injured recently, so maybe you can say he hasn't always been in his best condition, but he's still Rodri. Unfortunately, I don't know if I'm being consistent. I would say pay him, but I don't know if I feel that way.
So when does that stop then?
That's what I'm saying. I don't think I feel that way.
If Gvardiol comes back and says, I want 400 grand, do we just give it him?
Exactly my point. And I think if I'm going to give it to anybody, I think if I'm going to give it to anybody, I give it to to Gavardiol because he's so young. His upside is still there. I think Rodri is going to be on the downside of his career. Now, again, he's still got plenty of years, but if I could only give it to one, I think I give it to Gavardiol.
It's not that for me. I think we've given Rodri a fair offer on the back of an ACL. I think we've given him a very fair offer at a good age. We're making him, by the way, the offer we've made him still makes him the second highest earner in the Premier League.
Oh, well, yeah. Come on, take the money and run, bro.
So we're not. We're arguing when you get into the 400 range or just under, you're arguing over pennies now. 400 grand a week and 425 grand a week. Is it much of a life-changing situation at that point? Are you that desperate for the 100 grand a week extra? I mean, what kind of a lifestyle's he got? I don't know. I just think, sadly, this is a way, because, listen, Real Madrid looks like they're not going to pay that money.
Which is why I think he goes.
Nobody else is coming.
Yeah, which is why I think he goes on a free.
Yeah. Which does
in a year's time.
It bothers me because how do I put this? At the moment, they're not, because you're going to ask me, I'll go with it. They're not going to pay the money. Nottingham Forest are asking for Elliot Anderson.
So we talked about this briefly when Alan came on, but Nottingham Forest want 120 million pounds for Elliot Anderson. My statement was that City is not likely to go anywhere near that number. Sounds like you agree with me.
Yeah. I think City will be under 100.
I think the 100 number is a thing for them. It's a mental thing. Yes. Do you think so? Obviously, he's also been linked with United. We just saw, I think that they just signed Ederson from
for an initial fee of 35 million.
Was it? So I think I saw Euro. So it was like 40 and then goes up to another 5 with whatever. So probably euros versus pounds. But
so you're between 35 and 40 million pounds.
Yeah. So that's not a lot of money. Does that take them out of the Anderson equation, or could they do both?
Nobody in the Premier League is going to. Nobody in the world is going to pay 120 million for Elliot Anderson. Nobody in the world is going to do it.
Nobody in the world should.
That's what Marinakis wants, though, right?
Exactly. This is what I mean. So now we're into a game of an owner has put a price on someone's head, who, by the way, still got 3 years left on a deal. It's like West Ham. West Ham are clever now. You look at this Martinez Fernandez. They've just been relegated, and they're quoting him at 80 to 90 million pound.
Yeah,
he's just been relegated. I'm not saying it's his fault, but if we're now technically playing 80 to 90 for a championship player, then I'm sorry, the market's gone. The market has gone to a level no one's going to be able to do.
If I was West Ham, I would loan him to a Premier League club with the thought that I'm going to get back in a year, and then I'll have my player back, as opposed to sell him.
But West Ham will need the money.
Yeah, what West Ham are doing is West Ham are asking a club to make up their Premiership loss money.
Yeah, that's not going to happen either.
They're not stupid.
Yeah.
I
think Marinakis is just going to learn what his player's worth is not what he thinks he's worth. And then he's going to be left with a player who he now knows wants to leave.
But we're talking Marinakis. We just saw this last season with Morgan Gibbs-White. He didn't care. Marinakis does not care.
That's the random element.
His statement and his belief is you might be angry for a little bit, but you're going to come back around. You're not gonna hold out. You're not gonna sit on the sidelines. You're not gonna take yourself out of availability. You're not gonna do any of that. So you might be angry, but you'll get over it and you'll be fine.
In any business negotiation, the hardest thing to account for is your opponent's ego. And if Marinakis, we can safely estimate that his ego is in this.
Yeah.
You know,
the problem is now, Elliot Anderson is now with the England squad. They've gone. They're already out there now.
Because we were hoping to get it done before, right?
So Anderson doesn't want to do any negotiations now. This is now going to have to be after the World Cup. We may agree a deal in the meantime, but you are not going to do anything while he's out playing for England.
maybe Marinakis thinks that he's going to ball out in the World Cup, and then and justify 120 million.
Because every year, and I was going to say this when we got to the World Cup, but every year there is a player who shines at the World Cup beyond what you would have expected, and then people throw money at him thinking that it's going to translate into a league, and it never does. Well, I shouldn't say never. It seldom does.
Rare.
Yeah, it seldom does. So anyway, Martin, I read something from GE Globo that said that Vitor Hayes is in Man City's plans for the 2026-27 season and will be reintegrated into the squad this summer following his loan at Girona.
Mm-hmm.
That would mean that he's going to be the fifth center back unless Mr. Diaz goes, there's been rumors out there. What do you know about our center backs?
From what I understand, Diaz not going to go anywhere. I don't know where this Diaz stuff's come from. The exact message I got was Diaz, and then I got a waffle.
Mm.
It is. People forget Diaz only signed a contract last season, and this thing of Diaz is washed. You put Diaz on the market and just see who comes for him. He's 29 years old. Stick him on the market, because I bet you any money every top team comes a knocking at that point. So why is he not good enough for City, but he's good enough to go and play in every other top team? This is what I find remarkable, and this is where the player FC bit comes in.
Martin knows my theory about this, where the noise has come from. You know, the noise has come from, and I call this the Mahrez effect. Maybe I've spoken with you about it before. I first noticed it with Mahrez, and so I christened it the Mahrez effect. And we need to learn this lesson. Okay, when Mahrez came to City, we got hundreds of thousands of Algerian fans. They all disappeared the moment he left. But what happened was...
Well, maybe not, because we still have...
We still got some, but we lost most of them because they follow Mahrez. So that's what Martin means by player FC. But I call it slightly different because I think there is another layer on top of player FC. What happens, how they behave during the time that player is with your team is that they will, bag the manager every time that player's dropped. But the second most pernicious one, the most dangerous one, is that they will look at who their player is dropped for and then attack them. And they will do it relentlessly. And they will say they're washed, they're rubbish, they're no good, without mentioning the fact that they are Mahrez FC guys. And it's the same with Kushinov. We've attracted hundreds of thousands of Uzbeks, and I love them, and I want them to stay, and I want them to be welcome, and I adore Kushinov, right? But the noise is from this very passionate, quite new to football, Premier League football crowd who will attack anyone that they think is keeping their boy out of the team. And I think that's where a lot of the noise, that's where the fire started. And then it gets fanned. You know, the flames get fanned.
This excuse on pace is really weird.
Nonsense.
Really weird, because this is telling. And then they get, well, Walker bailed him out when he was... Listen, being a defender is not just pace. I don't know where that's come from. It's just pace. Well, last time I checked, it involved heading, because when I was doing my coaching badges, they didn't teach me pace. They were teaching me techniques.
However, when you were coaching, did you look for pace in your players?
No. I looked at someone.
This is another one of those places where the U.S. Does not shine, because the whole pace and power thing. That's the thing here in the U.S. still. A lot of, you want the tall kid, you want the big kid, you want the fast kid. There's conversation about identifying the technical kid, but it's still not being done in the way that it should. But
it's not just technical. I think there's something, perhaps the most organic and most difficult thing to find, the natural talent, if you like, or an element of the natural talent, the organic footballer, is how they read the game, how they read what's going on ahead of them. And I don't know whether it can be taught. I think some players have it, some players don't. Diaz does. And that reading of what's going on in front of you can account for any alleged weaknesses in your game.
Can I give an example, Tom, on that?
Yeah.
Can I give you an example on that?
Love it.
Kushinov, for example, a brilliant defender. Not going to say he's quick. But the one thing, because I've been looking at videos and listening to other people, the one thing Kushinov actually needs to improve on is reading the game in the offside trap. Because if you look, there's been a few occasions, Bournemouth was one, Everton was one, Madrid was one, where people step up and he doesn't. Now, that's just down to slight inexperience. That's not having a go at him. You learn as you're going along. But that's when his pace bails out.
You're absolutely right.
His pace bails him at that point. He gets back. No one's saying.
He's never had to develop the reading of the game because he's always
pace will go. Pace leaves players. The reading of the game doesn't. The brain is the last thing that leaves you as a footballer. I'm not saying play Diaz 70 games and put Kushinov to the bench. There's a time and a place for each player. But what I'm saying is this thing of it's just pace. That's great. But we've got to look at other things, reading of the game, heading, tackling at the right time, making a decision when to tackle. These are all things Kushinov is going to learn. And the ironic thing is, the person who Kushinov has been learning off in training is actually Ruben Diaz. This is the thing that I find so ironic in all of this, that it's Diaz who took Kushinov under his wing in training.
Well, that's why, what we as a fan base or just fans in general say often doesn't reflect the reality of what happens behind the scenes. Because, and I don't know what you just said. I just take you at face value because you never lie to me. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me that he's trying to learn from Ruben Diaz. You learn from the people who have come before you and have had success, and you're also playing the same position on that right side of the defense. So I need to learn from the person who's been playing that position very well for me, whatever. So yeah, it makes sense that he's going to learn and, kind of try to pick the brain of a Ruben Diaz and learn from him. And we as a fan base pit them against each other. They don't necessarily have to pit themselves. They don't have to pit themselves against each other.
We've always done this. We did it with Doku and Grealish. We're doing it with Donnarumma and Trafford. We did it with Mahrez and say another. And this is the problem with social media. People do this because Trevor's spot on. You're doing it. I've seen people, and I've read it because why I made my quote, of Cherky was going to be better than KDB.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but
I didn't see that. But it would make me
laugh.
I have.
And people were building statues. It is great you are backing all these players, but what I don't like is that they are literally getting rid and dismantling legends at the expense of a new toy. And then the other thing that'll happen is once these new toys have a bad spell, they'll turn on them like sour milk. Whereas me or somebody else or you who has defended all the players, we will still back the Kushinov or a Cherkit or whoever who goes through a bad period. They won't. They'll want to move on to the next new toy. And once you've destroyed players online, because by the way, players see everything. They are human beings. They read everything. They see everything. They are hearing it all. And I made a point this week, listen to the comments, Tariq. Gavardio talked about he's played a lot of minutes. He was always playing. That's number one. Gabardio's now saying. Gabardio's telling you, I don't get dropped. I'm the main guy. Straight away in that quote, he said, I played the majority of the minutes. I play in my position. He's telling you there and then. Diaz has talked about squad size. So with Victor Hayes is what makes no sense. Do we need 5 centre-backs?
So,
unless you're going to play 3 at the back.
So I was going to say, do you think that this is just, again, this was, I believe, a Brazilian source. So again, I don't know if they're just bigging up the Brazilian player, if they really think that this is going to be the case. If, again, I'm sure Maresca has told everybody, come again, we're going to need people for the preseason. So come back for the preseason, if nothing else, because so many people are going to be at the World Cup. So maybe, just maybe, this isn't all it's cracked up to be. And he maybe goes back out on loan. Of course, Girona went down, so he's not going back out on loan to Girona.
Sorry, are we all selling Ake then?
Am I selling Ake?
Because by the way, Victor comes back now. You're at 6.
Yeah,
not 5.
I said 5 because I made the assumption that Ake is gone, but I would be perfectly fine with Ake staying. I'm not trying to push him out. I just figured he would want to leave because, again, we've heard that conversation.
Yeah.
So I think if Ake wants to stay, you keep him and it's fine. And then again, you send Victor Hayes on loan to a top level club somewhere, whether it's in the Premier League, which I would like. But even if you need to send him to France, whatever, you put him on, and I'm gonna use William Jarrett will understand this. Put him on the Saliba plan, where you're going to come back at some point. But for right now, we're going to send you out on loan again, and we're going to send you to a top level club. You're going to continue to develop, continue to grow, and when we do bring you back, you're probably moving right into a starting type position.
Do you know the one I worry about? And I should have mentioned this earlier, but no one's talking about it. Weirdly enough, where does Ryan Ain't Nori fit into all of this little conundrum?
So if you're online, everybody's selling them.
No, I just find it amazing because everyone's got Gavardio or O'Reilly as your left backs. So is Ryan Ain't Nori just a forgotten man now?
Yeah, and I think the issue. So when Gavardio came back, Pep played him on that left side as a left back, as opposed to playing him at left center back. Now, I had been saying, if you want to get all of Guehi, Vardiol, and Diaz on the pitch together, the only way to do that is to probably put Gavardiol out at left back. But that's not what I want. I want Gavardiol playing left center back. But I don't know, obviously, what Maresca is going to do. If you're more inclined to invert that left back, then maybe you stick with Nico O'Reilly, because again, he does that probably better than anyone. Can Gavardiol do that? Yes, but I don't think he does it as well as, my opinion, he doesn't do it as well as Nico O'Reilly. So I think people are, just assuming that, I don't know.
No, I'm just quick counting in my head. So we've sold that guy. Victor Hayes comes back. You've signed, let's say we've signed Anderson. You're still at 28 players.
So the reason that you're at 28 players is because Nico G and Savinho have both been linked to Tottenham. So Savinho, this is his second link to Tottenham. Nico G.
That's happening. That is going to happen. There's a 10 to 15 million pound discrepancy. See, this is the other thing that finds me funny. Tottenham are offering us 35 million for Savinho at the moment. City have asked for 50. So this is the thing that makes me laugh. City have to sell cheap. We have to buy dear.
Yeah,
I find it crazy, but it is what it is. But Savinho will leave. Savinho will join Tottenham.
Do you think that there is another club that's willing to pay 50 for Tottenham? I mean, excuse me,
he wants to go to Tottenham. He wants to go to Tottenham now. The discussions are already underway. It'll be a Tottenham player. I even imagine by next week.
Yeah, there's social media clips. I don't know if it's Instagram or whatever, but Xavi Simons and Savinho together. So when I saw that, I was like, "Oh, interesting." Now, again, I have no reason.
I wonder if any City fans have had second thoughts about Savinho, having heard the Yamal conversation that was eavesdropped on.
What? I don't know about this.
Okay, there's this conversation. I'm sure it's Yamal, and he's talking about Doku and Savinho and how much he admires them.
Yes, it was Yamal.
So has that got any blues now? We were definitely packing Savinho's bag.
Trevor, we will all talk about this, guys, soon. Tariq, promise us, clip the date and the time. About September and October time, there will be a trend by City fans that will go around. Why did we sell Savinho?
Correct. Correct. Do you remember last week I asked that question? I don't know if I asked it of you, Tariq, but it's a subtle question. Right, but maybe your chat can join in. The sort of question is, which players or player are you most afraid it would be a mistake to sell?
Out of who?
Out of the ones that are reported to be wanting to
go. Again, I think Savinho, we have seen him in a top level league get almost 20 over 20 GA, I think it was. So I know he can do it at a high level. He did it against the Barcelonas and the Real Madrids playing for Girona in La Liga. He has not put it together yet at the way that we hope he would at City. He has decent first year, but he hasn't put it completely together yet. I think the potential is still there. So I think that would scare me. I think Nico G scares me a little bit. But out of the two, you're probably going to get out of those two. If there is a G and A to be had, it's probably going to be Savinho, just because of the position he plays. But
I'm the opposite. I just don't see it in Nico G. I think he's a good player. I think he's an okay player.
Yeah, so that's what I say. I think Savinho would be the bigger concern, or he's going to be the one that's going to get more G&A, and it's going to have, you're going to be like, oh my God, we could have had that in our team. I think Nico G
would do well at an Everton.
Do you think he ends up at Tottenham too?
No, I don't think Tottenham are going to pay all the money we want.
What number would we put on Nico G?
That pays a lot of attention to Spanish football, who said that Nico G, we all think he's, the people who are his fans think he's amazing, but he's basically a second division Spanish bog standard player in that position. And he wasn't speaking badly. He just said that Spain produces that sort of player in that position, and there's a lot of them.
I mean, maybe. I think he's better than that. I think that's not giving him enough credit.
Yeah, he's better than that.
But I don't know. I like him, but is he the finished article? No, he's not the finished article.
No, I just think his passing was good. And then I again go back and I watch, and Pep was spot on. Everything's a 5-yard sideways pass.
He's conservative. He's played risk-averse football.
Yeah, you can't do that. You can't do that in the Premier League.
Did it change when Rodri was out and he was playing?
Yes, because you play more direct.
Yeah.
See, so again, it's not a matter of it not being in his quote unquote in his locker. It's just it's not the way that we're playing right now.
Yeah, because he doesn't have to play 30-yard balls at that point.
Yeah. I think he can. So could he be a midfielder for Everton? I believe absolutely could do that.
There's no way Nico G could ever take over Rodri. That's like swapping Erling Haaland for Ollie Watkins.
So okay, you know what? That's probably not a bad analogy, right? Because Ollie Watkins is a very, very good
player, but not at the top level.
And he would play for a lot of teams. And so just because you're not Haaland level doesn't mean you're not a good level.
But that's
This
what
guy-
I mean for
yeah.
Rodri. If for
Yeah.
Rodri to go, I want somebody ready can go to that level. I'm sorry.
So
It's not even an
tomorrow,
agenda.
25 tomorrow says Nico G doesn't even make the Spanish national team. You can
Right.
find many players like Nico in the market. Rodri is one of one. So I agree with Rodri is one of one. I also, it's factual that he doesn't make the Spanish national team. So I agree with that. But I think if you look at what we saw from Zubamendi, who does make the national team, I do not believe that he is hands down better than Nico G. I don't believe that. Style may be different, but there's not much to separate them, in my opinion.
I think one thing we have to take account of is that, again, going back to that politics phrase of, you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. So I think that players trying to get into the team play boldly, but once they're in the team, they become more risk averse. I think that accounts for the
Don't want to make a
difference.
mistake.
Yeah, because they want to stay in the team. And so what they do is they turn the dial down on the how aggressive or how assertive they will be. And I've seen a few of our players do exactly that. I've seen Savinho do it. I've seen him start to go lateral passing all of a sudden, when what got him in the team was he came on as a sub and stormed the box, and just like got a couple of shots in.
Yeah.
But once he got in the team, or he got a run in the team, he started to become far more risk averse and conservative to stop making the mistake that gets him dropped. And I think that's a problem with younger players, especially.
Well,
So,
you got to remember.
I'm gonna
Well, you got to
keep
remember now,
going.
Tariq. Sorry, you got to remember now. Part of the playing direct this year was due to Pep Linders.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and Pep, he's gone. Linders
He's
is gone.
Maresca doesn't do this direct stuff. Maresca's midfield is key. The midfield under a Maresca system is so key.
If the midfield is that important and it is the key to his system working or not, then you go pay the 120 and you bring Anderson in, because that position is going to be critical and key. Don't mess around with something that's critical. If it's an extra piece, or if it's a nice to have, fine. But if this is critical to the success of the whole thing, the whole system doesn't work if this, then you go pay whatever it takes. That's my opinion.
I agree. I think, well, I said this earlier, the problem is I don't know what Forest are asking for. The thing is, man, this comes back to talked about earlier on cash flow. If Forest are asking for 70 million up front, or 50 million up front, or half the money up front, not many clubs have got that.
Yeah.
Because this is the thing, you can agree a fee of 120 million, then you start another negotiation on payment.
How is it going to be paid out? Yeah.
And City have spent a lot of money in the last 18 months. So I don't think the cash flow is there to give them a big pay in one go. And if Forest want that, it then doesn't become the fee, it becomes the payment structure. So people have got to be careful when they're saying, why aren't we doing this? Why aren't we doing that?
Yeah.
We're not privy to what Forest are asking for.
So, and again, yeah, so I said pay whatever it takes. And I should have said, this is the profile that we need. If this is the profile that we need, you go find that profile. And if that profile is him, great. If you can get a Bruno G, okay, go do that. But you have to make sure that we don't get a second-rate player in a critical position. You have to have a high level player that steps into that position. I want to talk about right backs, because we've all said that we need a right back to either compete with and or kind of play second fiddle to Mateus Nunes. So I will tell you the names that are out there, and then you tell me your choice. So there's Malo Gusto, who's currently at Chelsea. And again, we're being linked with every Chelsea player. There's Pedro Porro from Tottenham. Maybe we get him and send Savinho the other way. There's the Javaro Reed, and I believe Marco Palestri might be a right back too. So out of those four, I have another name. Let's just go ahead and call it out. Trent Alexander-Arnold, because Denzel Dumfries is going to Real Madrid. They're gonna trigger his 20 million release clause. He's probably coming in to take over for Trent. Out of that list, who you bringing in?
Not a Chelsea player. I think more Chelsea players coming in could actually create a split in the dressing room, because they'll be seen as Maresca's guys, and I don't think we can play with that. We've been linked with 5 now Chelsea players. No. 1, okay, because then he gets absorbed by the Borg that is Man City. Bring 5 Chelsea players in, plus the manager managed them before. Massive mistake. I'm sorry. You can't make 5 people will change a culture, or they will divide a culture. So I don't want to see any Chelsea players. And I don't care who they are, to be honest. I genuinely don't care. I think it's an existential risk to have more than one Chelsea player come. So that's one gone out.
Martin. Oh, sorry. So you said no to. So Malo Gusto, you're saying no. What about Martin? What do you think about Malo Gusto?
No, not for me. But see,
Pedro Porro.
Can I ask a question back?
Sure.
Is this a backup or a number 1?
So, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, it is, for me, it's a backup who can either compete today for the number 1 or will be able to compete in a year or 2 for the number 1 spot.
Then I'm
Which
going
I think is why people are saying the Javaro Reeds of the world.
Yeah, I'm going to say Javaro Reed then. So you got to be careful, because, we've just seen today, Bayern Munich have pulled out of that young lad that we were looking at. I remember his name. Is it Ad Hoc? Whatever his name was, the young lad, because he's asking for silly wages and silly money at 16.
Yeah,
and they're like, no. You haven't. You've got to build a CB before you start asking for CB money, and that is a bit of an issue with Javaro Reed. Feyenoord have clicked on that. They have got a little bit of a bidding war going on. They have got the sharks swimming around the pond, having a look, and price will go up. And Javaro Reed's agent is not Silla. He's asking for wages that are a little bit not at the level for a backup. So I think we have to be very clever now how we do this. I think we're in a section of footballism right now where the money is getting a little bit whacked. It's getting a bit out of control. When young lads who have not done a dime in this game, done nothing, they're hyped up on Twitter more than they are in the real world, are asking for silly stuff. Porro, again, would like him, but I'm not sure he'd like to be a backup.
Do you think so? If Porro comes, I think it becomes a straight competition between the two. We've seen what Mateus Nunes can do, and I think he probably wins that competition because he's much better, in my opinion, defensively. But I think they could compete with each other. But then is it too much of the same? I don't know.
Yeah, I could say if you're going to do that and let's compete, then fair enough. If the fee's right, that's my issue with Trent. I would love Trent. I'd love Trent just for the piss boiling. But, the Welcome to Manchester poster and all that at the bottom of Market Street, I think it'd be great.
It's nailed it. What a guard of honour if we win the league.
But
Against
I'm telling
Liverpool.
you, Trent ain't coming in to be no backup. Trent ain't coming to compete with Nunes. Nunes' place gone. That point.
Well, if he gets pushed out of Real Madrid, he's gonna have no choice.
Yes, but that's Real Madrid. Trent, you say to Trent, you're the backup to Mateus Nunes. We're all loving it because we're loving it for the piss boiler saying, sit there, this means more. Well, that bench means more. We'd love it for that. But if you're Trent Alexander-Arnold,
let me be honest.
you know.
If he came to City and he started putting in those balls and he was putting balls in that Haaland was getting on the end of, I would have no problem with Trent. Because I know he's gonna put a ball in a good spot. I know he's gonna put a ball in a good spot.
My issue is I don't think Mateus Nunes deserves that treatment.
I agree.
I think Mateus Nunes has been one of our players of the season.
Absolutely.
And I don't see why he needs shifting.
No, I agree. Which is why I said I think you bring someone that can compete down the road another year or two.
Yeah, that's
Nunes
I don't know.
Best right back in the Premier League last season. And
I saw something that compared, and I don't think I bookmarked it, but compared Nunes to Hakimi. Of course, the attacking Hakimi was on top, but it was
wrong choice of words.
Team percentage.
Wrong choice of words.
Fair enough. He was the better player. He had the better stats for.
I know. I saw that. I can't do. I get so uncomfortable when the Hakimi chat arrives.
It's all good. I mean, people would tell me I had to say, like, in the U.S., they would say no Diddy or something like that, but I don't care about all that stuff. But I get your point. So
the trial is about to start. We'll care very much.
Oh, he's got a trial? I see. Okay,
yeah, he's going to trial. There's no date set at the moment.
Okay.
For allegations, we'll say that.
So my point, though, was that the offensive stats were in his favor. Decent, by a little bit, not a lot. The defensive stats were heavily skewed in favor of Mateus Nunes by a long way, by a big margin. It wasn't even close. So for people who think Hakimi is the best right back in the world, you had to look at those numbers. Now, again, numbers don't tell everything, but if you look at the numbers.
Is Rico going as well? We sold Rico.
I think so. This is my opinion. I think Rico needs to go, not because he needs to go for his own career.
I love the way everyone gets really sensitive around the Rico issue. I love the way people.
What do you mean sensitive? I mean, because I think he needs to. I think he needs to go because he's too young. He's too young to sit on a bench at this point in his career.
No, because I was telling someone earlier, and it's a good point. If we say we don't sign Elliot Anderson, say we don't, we're going to have to start keeping players for homegrown.
But not from again, it's not the same profile, doesn't do the same things on the pitch. But yes, you
might have to keep Rico in the squad for keeping him in the squad. Is my whole point.
So we've also been linked with Morgan Rogers. Now, again, whether you think that's a legit thing or not,
I can confirm that is a complete and utter non-star. It is an agent-led thing, and Villa have come out tonight and said they're not selling.
But he's English, one, but he would be academy trained from a Champions League perspective. Would be a big coup if we did it. I hear you saying we're not going to do it, and that's probably true. But there would be value in doing it. Like you said, he's a good player, but he also checks those other boxes.
I know. I don't want to start because I know there's people in here that listen to what I'm saying. I don't want to start a rumor of Morgan Rogers when there's no interest. The interest is Arsenal's and Arsenal's alone.
That's fair.
So people who were aggregating that story were also saying that we get a 25%.
Yeah. I saw your comments. Yeah.
Yeah, you got to remember it's silly season because I know Villa will come out with a statement tonight or last night. There's no interest in selling them.
Yeah, of course you have to say that.
League.
Villa has to say that to preserve the amount. They need as much money for him as they can get.
They're in the Champions League.
Yes, that's true. This is true. You're right. I forgot about that. You are right. Is there anyone else? Is there anyone else that we missed?
Hello. I don't think you've got any update. Hang on. Let me just check.
And it doesn't have to be right back anybody else that we missed out on. We didn't talk about wingers. We didn't talk about wingers, so I guess Njai is a possible. But okay. I don't know if that's a real thing. I guess if you lose Savinho, do you go get him? But again, is he going to want to sit on the bench? No. Coyote as a right back option potentially, although he was getting cooked by Doku a few weeks ago. So I don't know. That might have knocked down his transfer value.
Luke, we're getting no one in. I'm all right with that.
There you go.
I'm all right with that.
Appreciate that, man. Yeah, no, we don't need get. Just gonna run it back. Take what we got, run it back. With the exception of Bernardo. So, which would be a big
the bubbles up from the World Cup, like you said.
So yes, so
we all get excited about
the World Cup launches next week on Thursday. So Thursday, June the 11th. On a scale of 1 to 10, and for the 52 of you in the chat, plus everybody else, I want to know, go ahead and put it in the chat. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited for the World Cup are you? 10 being, I'm the most excited I could ever be. 1 being, I don't care. It's whatever. Put in there.
Trevor and Governor out because they're doing this. These two have done this little tag team at the minute. Where I love it. I love what they're doing. But they're doing this tag team, Trev and Governor, at the minute, where they're like, no, till it's official, we're not doing it. I love it.
I'm not saying it on air.
Till what's official?
I love when you and Governor do this.
Private conversation. Stop reading the chat.
Oh.
I noticed you didn't mention what me and Magnus are talking about.
I didn't see it.
No, not that one. You and Governor. You and Governor with the we can't decide until we know who the manager is.
It's a private conversation, mate.
It's in the chat.
The double privet.
The Spanish manager's gone.
It's an in-joke between me and Magnus.
Okay.
And the other day I got really bothered and bored of hearing the phrase double pivot. Right. And then Magnus sent me a picture of 2 hedges.
No, not that. Governor. You and Governor.
Yeah, I know. I mentioned the Governor thing, but that's
I don't know. So Martin, you gotta tell me what this is. Oh wait, until we know who the manager is, it's all hypothetical.
Now you're showing us up. You're exposing us for our cynicism.
What's hypothetical though? I don't know what's hypothetical.
Because Maresca's not been announced, so they're saying it could be anyone. Could be Enrique.
This is true. It could be Enrique. Yes. Bring it on.
Did you see that with the Liverpool fans? Enrique was going to win the Champions League.
Yes, and then come over there.
Leave on a nice high, and then roll into Liverpool. Yeah. Like, no, he's not. Stop dreaming.
Yeah, he's going to come to City. Yeah. Anyway, I see some 5s. I see a 4. I see an 8. The 8 looks to be the highest.
And I have -2.
Do we have a -2? Did somebody put
a
-2?
I'm giving you -2.
You're at a -2. You're really not excited about this World Cup.
I am not either, but I'm hoping Luke gets me excited. He did a really good stream on it the other day, and I'm hoping that Luke gets me excited about the about the World Cup.
See, Curtis has got me excited now. Curtis has me excited.
Okay.
In the chat there.
We'll be playing
Curtis says, what's it matter? We'll be playing Rotherham United and Chesterfield next season. There we go.
Again, you forgot to put the word again there.
Now that gets me excited.
Yeah.
There you go. Oriano's a 5 on the World Cup. So I think
where are you at? With it being in your host nation, where are you at?
Ash is a 0. Ash says international football, thumbs down. Where am I at? I am I am probably of 3. I'm
See,
not
now
really
that's,
excited.
That's the
Yeah.
thing I really, because if it was in England and going around England, I'd probably be a bit more excited. I'd be like, yeah. But I'm noticing even, I was speaking to, I won't mention it, speaking to people in Canada, they're not excited either.
Yeah. So I think whenever this was announced that the World Cup was coming to the US, I've said this, I would have told you then, I'm going to a game. I'm going to a match somewhere. I don't know where I'm going to go. Then you see the price tags, and it's so my issue is this. Do I spend
or tickets?
What's that?
Is it the parking price tag?
No,
or the
I mean, it's really
price
it's the
tag?
ticket price. And so what I'm thinking about is I'm going to pay $500 to go watch a team that I don't care about. Or I'm going to pay $2,000 to go watch the US. Well, I'm going to pay $1,000 to go watch England. Well, if that's the case, I'd much rather take that $1,000, buy me a plane ticket, come over to watch Man City play in the Etihad. That's my issue right there. Right now, I will tell you that every time I look at it and I see like they got several matches in the Kansas City area, which is Midwest, so that's kind of close-ish to me. Like I could get to Atlanta in like 8 hours. So that's about as close as I'm going to get to it. But I do have one of my show bros from Shades of Blue that's in the Kansas City area, so I could kind of hang out with him and go. Even if it's just doing all the stuff around the matches.
How much are tickets for, say, USA versus Australia? How much?
Let's see if we can figure this out really quickly.
Because I'm going to say something really, it's going to sound very derogatory right now when I say
World Cup tickets.
USA versus Australia is not a high quality football game, is it?
No.
It would really be
not
necessarily. And I'm sorry, I don't mean that in the offensive way, because I wish
true.
If that's $2,000, I'm should wear a mask and a striped jumper, somebody. Because you're Dick Turpin in now. With due respect.
Dick Turpin, for those who don't know, was a highwayman in England who used to rob people at gunpoint when there were stagecoaches.
All right. So, Martin, you asked me what is the ticket price for the US versus Australia. I think this is the right one. Let's share that. And let's pull this up on here. So this is the stadium. It's in Seattle, Washington, which is all the way on the West Coast. So it's probably, let's say it's $400 ticket. I mean, plane ticket for me to get there. I can't drive. It's too far away.
Mm-hmm.
Tickets are go away.
World Cup, don't miss out.
Tickets are in the $1,000, $1029, $1086, $1086, $1097.
How much is it at the bottom? Go on the per pinky bit.
Where?
No,
Here?
the bottom. The bottom. No. Near the pitch.
Oh, you mean like that $23,000?
Fuck off.
23, and so over here, 3,000, 2,000, 1,789, 1,884,
fuck off.
7,000.
Watching here.
Yeah. So again, this is just US versus. So this is my point. For any one of these tickets, even if it's just $1,000, because there's nothing under $1,000, nothing.
I can go on holiday for that.
That's my point. I would much rather take that money and just come see City.
I'm not watching Brazil.
City match, I care
Argentina,
about.
I'm not watching somebody that I'm like, yeah. I'm not watching Messi. There's not what?
So
can you get
let's
England,
see.
Croatia? What's it? I mean, I didn't know they were this price.
So England, Croatia. Let's see here.
Is there any stadiums sold out yet?
England, Croatia. Here we go. And again, this is only one ticket. 813. So 813 is the cheapest. But if you get down here, we got 5,000. We got 13, 1445, 2629. Look where that ticket is. It's all the way up at the top section. $2,629. Why am I paying that? It doesn't make any sense. So $897, right? Again, it just doesn't feel like it makes sense to me to pay that money. But
those lower prices seem to be, because they're behind the goals, they seem to be to get enough people in there for TV.
Yeah, maybe.
They want the limbs, they want the singing sort of thing, you know?
Yeah, I'm sure. But again, there will be people who pay it, right? I just can't rationalize it in my brain. The only thing is it's a quote unquote once in a lifetime event.
And that's who will go, right? Somebody who's ticking something off. It's not even on a bucket list. It's just, hey, it's an event, it's nearby. So I can say I went to a World Cup game.
Yeah.
See.
Are there any games sold out anywhere?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Well, what's the opening game?
I don't know what the opening game is.
That'd be USA versus.
Does anyone know? Because
it's a Mexico. It's on the 11th. It's on that Thursday. It's a Mexico versus. Give me 1 second. Let me.
I'm just intrigued because generally the opening game and your semi and your final are the ones that sell quite early. Because everyone wants to go to the opening ceremony, don't they? Generally.
Because we have such fond memories of Diana Ross breaking the net.
Yeah.
I just think FIFA have got this completely wrong.
Well, see, this is my issue. I know it's in Mexico. I don't know who they're playing. I forget. But it's just one of those things where I just don't, I can't, it just doesn't make sense. I would much rather spend my money to come to England or go to England and watch City play. And if I time it right, I can come for a weekend match and then a midweek match. I can maybe catch 2 City matches in one weekend and not spend too much more than this.
Yeah.
So if I really wanted to do it, I could catch a women's match too, depending on how that goes. I might be able to catch 3 matches over in England
for a team that you love.
Exactly. For people that I'm passionate about.
Yeah.
Sorry,
what are the prices like in Mexico?
But what's the halftime show? It's 15 minutes.
Yeah, that's probably short, to be honest with you.
They do know it's not the NFL Super Bowl, don't they?
Yeah. So on Friday the 12th, the U.S. will welcome the world to the Los Angeles. So, but I think Mexico is playing. I don't know who they're playing on the Thursday.
South Africa, haven't they?
On Thursday. So, yeah. So that's my issue. Big up to everybody that said.
Just one last thing. Can you get Mexico, South Africa up?
Mexico, South Africa. Let's see if we can find that one.
That's the opening game. See, I'll be honest, I've not researched a lot of the prices. I just heard they were high.
All right. So again, going back to StubHub, Mexico, South Africa. This is, again, we just need 1 ticket. Just get me in the door. 1 ticket. All right. And this is okay, hold on. Let me switch over to show you this one. So this is the Mexico versus South Africa. It is being held at the Azteca Stadium in Mexico City. First, $2,283 is the low price. You asked about, here's an 11,000 one, there's an 11,000, here's a 14 kind of in the corner, 23 here. So yeah, there you go.
Insane.
If you want, I really need them to stop putting this up here. So yes, if you would like to, so you know what, if we can get enough of the super chats and I can create some memberships and people want to pay that for me to go, I will gladly go. I will even stream from there. You know what, I'll do it for the people watching and listening.
You're so brave.
I just need someone to make that donation. I'll be there. I'll be there. But
your bravery.
Yes, I appreciate the things that I would do for this community. This community. Yeah. Spicy Potato said start a fundraiser
as well, in it.
Yeah.
Jesus, you're gonna need your oxygen tank and your other things up there.
So that is where
high to pay those prices.
And that's why I'm a 3. I will watch the matches on TV. I might even, if there's a local like a little Irish pub or whatever here in town. So maybe if they're hosting and putting it up on the screen or something, maybe I would do something like that just to be around other people. But my couch works just fine. And
you know how much I paid?
My TV is big enough. So
I paid Manchester City versus Barcelona 18 months ago. In Orlando, 50 quid.
Yeah. But that was the Club World Cup, right?
No, that was just preseason panel.
So I go to all the preseason stuff, right? I shouldn't say all. I go to a lot of the preseason matches. When they were here, when City was here the last time, I went to 2 of the 3, I think. Was it 3 or 4? I went to about at least half of them. I went to North Carolina and I went to Ohio. My show notes, we all met up. I did not go to the one you were at. There's only so much. Anyway.
You just wanted to avoid me.
No, see, I was gonna say there's only so much handsome that can be in one space. It couldn't both of us be in the same space at one time. But then I was like,
I'll give you that.
Here we are.
Yeah, so I was like, yeah, there you go. So it can only be on camera. It can't be in one space. It's not it's
just too hot.
Yeah. So yes, DJN. The Iran games aren't actually going to be in Mexico. Iran is going to be, because I believe all of Iran's games were in the U.S., but they can't stay in the U.S., so they're going to have to stay in Mexico and then fly to their matches. Fly to their matches and effectively turn around and fly back.
You're making this worse as it's going along.
Yeah, it's not a thing, man. It's
you can play football, but once you're done, piss off.
Well, So again, I'm gonna get off of here because this was supposed to be 2 hours and we're 2:45.
No, we're going down politics road now.
But I think that there was a politician in the federal government who was like, oh, maybe we should kick Iran out and bring Italy instead. Now, some people think that that's a statement made in jest and it's just a joke, and maybe it is. I don't know. But no one else would say that because it's such a ridiculous statement to make. No one else would say that but an American. And so, sometimes I get embarrassed and I just cringe.
The last one, and I'm going to shoot. Are the Iran fans allowed to stay in America? Have they got to leave the country as well?
I don't know the answer to that question, unfortunately. Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
I'm sorry. Do you know what? I might watch this World Cup.
The issue would be getting into the country. You'd have to have your visas and all that stuff.
Yeah, they're not going to get them.
I don't know that they would get approved. Now, maybe if they're just a regular person, then maybe it's fine. But again, I don't.
I got my Esther. My Esther got cleared quite quick. 12-hour turnaround, and my Esther was done.
When I came to England, again, it's the same thing. I have to get a I forget what it was called, but it was like a little short-term travel, whatever. And then
Yeah, they're not called visas anymore, are they? Because I know in America it's ESTAs for over there.
I forget what it was called, but it was, I could go online, fill it out, and it was done in an hour or two, and it was done. So, but there's just too much going on around it. So no, I'm not excited about the World Cup, but I will be happy once the games start. There's just too much going on around it. Is there anybody in the chat or whatever that's actually going to a match? If so, put that in there. I'd like to know. And then really quickly, running out of time, what City player are you most looking forward to seeing at the World Cup? Is it Erling Haaland? Who?
Absolutely.
Nordic Midfield. Erling Haaland. It could be Ryan Cherky, Doku.
Haaland, Cherky, all of them.
Yeah. I'm interested to see what Cherky can do with France. Obviously, I shouldn't say obviously. I would like for Haaland to go deep in this tournament. I don't know if there's enough for Norway to do that, but if he can make them go deep, I would love that. And then, of course, Doku is probably going to be the man for Belgium, so we'll see what he can do. Is there a non-City player that you are looking forward to seeing? Maybe it's just someone for England or whoever.
Elliot Anderson.
Okay. Yeah.
Technically,
that makes sense. Oh, wow. I didn't know this, DJN. Appreciate this. It's happened before at Euros 92, Euros versus World Cup, but still, Yugoslavia were removed. Denmark took their place and won the tournament. Wow. That's killer. That's a story. That's a story right there.
Is Kevin gone?
I don't know. Probably yes. Kevin De Bruyne is going. KDB is going. Yes.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna have a little bit of a soft one on him.
Magnus says that he's trying to go to England versus Panama in New York, New Jersey, waiting for tickets to go cheaper. I hope it goes cheaper, man. I hope you make that.
Magnus, by the
Spicy
time
Potatoes says he's hoping to see Donnarumma at the World Cup. Unfortunately,
that's naughty.
Yeah, I was going to say, unfortunately, Italy's not going to be there. So yeah. Jared said that he might go to Atlanta. Understood. I might. That's again, 8-hour drive is not close, but it's closer than a lot of other places. So
I'm going to jump you. Please smash the likes.
Market to be cheap.
Yeah, we're going to get off here, Martin. Because I do need to. Today is my dad's birthday. I need to call him before it gets too late.
To your father. Please give him a big hug, Tariq.
Well, unfortunately, he doesn't live here, so I have to do it over the phone. But I will make sure that I make him aware that you said happy birthday, and so I do need to get off and call him. But as always, thank you so much, everybody, for hanging out with us. To Trev, to Martin, to Oriano, to everybody that came on. I appreciate you. To everybody that was engaged in the conversation, thank you so much. To William Jarrett, I know we got on you a little bit because of your Arsenal fandom, but you know that you're always welcome. You're a big part of this community, and we appreciate you, even if you did get a few boos right there. But thanks again to everyone. I hope and pray that you'll be back next week. We should probably talk. We'll do it again next week, and then we need to figure out what we're going to do. Well,
please smash the likes. Please hit that subscribe. Let's get Tariq to 1,000 and show him a lot of love.
Yeah, you guys were great and got me to that 500. And yes, we will keep pushing till we get to 1,000. So thank you, everybody. Again, have a great rest of your evening, and we'll talk again real soon.